take your seat. The show is about to begin.
Presented by Front Yard Fantasy. I'm your host, Simon. Joined as always by my wildly handsome co-host, John Luke Garofalo. Our friend Coop with us, aka Coop A. Fiasco. What's up, everyone? Welcome to the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Better Sports Network on the day after Thanksgiving. I'm your host, Simon, joined as always by my very handsome, very smart, and full of energy co-host, John Luke Garofalo and Andrew Cooper. What's up, boys?
What up, boys?
Hey, oi, hey.
Hey, oi, hey.
Oi, hey,
Oi.
oi. We're going to mix it up a little bit. Guys, we got some people in the chat ready for today's show. Craig in here. Boo!
Huh.
Got him, Craig. Nice
Terrifying.
teamwork. That was
Absolutely terrifying.
And Tommy in here with the shop if you like for this and that. I'll hang with FYF because this is where it's at. We got Dr. Seuss in the chat. Tommy's
Tommy, the poet laureate.
The
Seuss
poet
us,
laureate.
dude.
He Seussed this all over
He
the place.
Seussed us. He Seussed all over.
You Seussed us again, Tommy.
Absolutely disgusting.
Whew. Keith in here with the auto oi.
Auto, oi.
Oi! Is it auto oi and then hey?
I don't know.
Guys, how was your Thanksgiving?
My Thanksgiving was pretty chill. Pretty chill. Ate some pasta, watched some football. Can't complain.
Yeah. Sounds pretty good to me. What about you, Coop?
Amazing. We had a blast. Me and the little cousins, we played this game called Space Team. You ever heard of it?
Ace Team. Is this a video game? A video game?
It's a Vigi. So everyone downloads the game on their phone, individual phone.
Yeah.
And then everyone gets their own like circuit board, right? But they're all different. And then the game gives you instructions and you need to basically like say them out loud, and everyone has to check their circuit board to see if they have the thing on there. If you like Overcooked and like co-op games, you'd love this one. It's a lot of yelling at each other for sure.
That sounds awesome.
Yeah. Space Team is cool. We'll do it at the expo. We'll get a little Space Team circle going.
It reminds me of Bomb Squad, the Jackbox game.
Yeah.
Where everyone gets different instructions on their phone, and like some of the instructions contradict each other, but they supersede each other. Like they take ownership, and so you have to like make sure you're reading everything. It just makes everyone start yelling, but it's a ton of fun.
It's very intense. I think we played that game a few times and then we stopped because it was a little too intense.
A little too much, dude. You didn't like
a little too much anxiety for the whole crew there at my house.
You didn't like getting blown up.
No, I did not.
I'm with you, Jail. Sometimes those games, I'm like, okay, can we play something nice now? Can we just play something where like maybe we're friends instead?
Like we play Overcooked and it's just like machinery. Like we're just like go. It's there's not really that much stress. But that bomb game, too much.
Well, that's you. Overcooked for most people is a violent, aggressive, like marriage/relationship ruining game. As things start to fall apart, the most toxic traits in you come out because you're like, clearly it's not my fault. It's your fault. You did
very upsetting.
Enough.
I'm very, very aware that we are the anomaly here.
For sure. Craig and you said, fellas, I had this issue with my wife yesterday. What is one Thanksgiving food?
You came to the right place.
Oh, yeah. We are marriage counselors at law.
FYF.
Grunewald, Garofalo, and Fiasco. Marriage counselors at law. Craig said, what is one Thanksgiving food your significant other loves that you cannot stand? And guys, do you remember the little rant I went on yesterday during the bracket about sweet potato casserole?
I do.
About it being just absolutely awful, and you agreed. I walked out and I asked Leanne, what's your favorite Thanksgiving side? Like we did a bracket today. What's your favorite Thanksgiving side? No hesitation. Before the question could get out of my mouth, she goes, sweet potato casserole.
No.
Number one. Like, and I was like, what? She was like, yeah, no questions asked. It's my favorite.
Did you tell her I threw it out on the lawn?
I told her to throw it right out on the lawn.
She's going to have to go eat it off the lawn. That's disgusting.
And she said it's still her favorite. Grass clippings and everything.
Favorite? No.
How does that be mashed potatoes?
That's part. Like you're allowed to say that you like it, but favorite?
She's also the kind of person when I ask her, like, curly fries or straight fries? She'll go, sweet potato fries. And I'm like,
Oh,
that's a
no,
different
man.
conversation. Like, but those can come in curly or straight as well, I'm sure. Like, we're just talking shape here. What
Why
about
would
you
you
guys?
ever choose sweet potato
Answer's
fries?
curly though, right? Like,
Well,
Don't get
let's
this
not
started.
get into it.
Yeah, this is a Thanksgiving holiday about appreciating family, not hating family.
okay, all right, let's move on then. We'll move on. But
Do either of you guys have a food that your significant other loves but you cannot stand on Thanksgiving?
No, Maria and I like mostly the same things.
I like everything, and my wife, there are some things she doesn't like, but I like it all. So it's kind of hard for that to happen when you're just a garbage disposal on Thanksgiving.
A garbage disposal. That's hot, Coop.
Yeah. Gravy over everything.
Is that the lubricant for the garbage? That's like the water running down as you run the garbage disposal is the gravy. You just like dump it in.
That would be the grossest way to eat Thanksgiving. You don't put the gravy on first. You just cram everything in your mouth and then do the gravy after. Just go and wash it
Efficient.
down. Yeah, that's
your grandparents look over and you're just like,
Well,
with the gravy boat.
yeah. My grandparents arguing over which side of the family I came from. They're like, nah, that's you. That's your side.
That's all fiasco. Right
Yesterday,
there.
I saw a cat vomiting gravy boat come up as a recommended product in an advertisement on TikTok. So it's a gravy boat that just looks like a cat in the vomit pose, and the gravy comes out of its mouth. And I don't like gravy, but if I was going to eat gravy, I think it'd be out of, like, if you put that gravy boat on the table, I'm pouring it on my food. Know what I mean? Like, it doesn't matter what's in there. I'm going to do a little bit.
Ew, I just pulled it up and that is gross.
Right. It's beautiful. It's incredible. Jail's mine here saying happy diet day. Welcome, man. Mom.
Hey.
He says that, but then I'm about to go to her house later today and just gorge myself. So is it happy diet day?
No, it is not diet day. And Craig said we need an FYF gravy boat in the shop.
Oh my gosh. You think they sell that in our merchandise store?
Yeah, I'm sure they've got that product that we can just slap our logo on.
It's shaped like Joey, and like to fill it, you have to take the hat off.
Oh my god, that would be fantastic.
And then
if we ever have someone, that would be even better.
He's laying on the ground like this with his head up on his hands. And then you take off the hat to fill the gravy boat, and then you pour it out of his butt at the other end.
If someone in our audience is like a ceramic expert,
Please.
One day we'll have to do that. We have to do that.
Any ceramic experts listening, hit us up.
Let us know. Yeah.
Tommy said he's on it. I think he's got to learn ceramics first, so it might be a while, but I got full faith in Tommy. Oh, he said firing up the kiln. He's got it.
Get it done, dude. He's killing
Craig
it.
Says it's electronic, and when you pour it, it says, "Oh, hi."
Oh.
It's got a sensor on it. Guys, it is that time of day. I hope you brought your own breakfast, maybe some Thanksgiving leftovers, because we brought the news stories, we brought the topics. All you got to bring is your own breakfast. I'll kick us off today with one. Guys, there was a quote from OC Byron Leftwich on Rachaad White's extended playing time in week 10. And he said, I don't know if he was ready for that many earlier in the season. We're here with him every day, so we knew we had to get him to the point where he would be able to handle that type of load. He's there now. So he said, I wasn't sure if he was there. We had to get him to that point. So what he's saying here is it sounds like it was always the plan, like whenever they drafted him for Rachaad White to kind of take over this backfield. He wasn't ready for that many touches. They were just waiting. And now that he's ready, this gives me more confidence that Rachaad White's the dude in this backfield. What about you guys?
Yeah, that's promising to see. And we mentioned yesterday that at the top of the show during BYOB that Leonard Fournette, Todd Bowles came out and said Leonard Fournette's dealing with a hip pointer that's sore this week, and so he's seeing how he feels in practice this week. It's all of this is just more and more evidence pointing towards Rachaad White. Something to still keep an eye on. It does not mean that Rachaad White is guaranteed to just be locked and loaded the guy now, but it's definitely you got to keep your eye on this trend.
It feels good, dude. It feels good when every piece of evidence points to him having a big week. So he's probably going to have like 5 carries for 10 yards.
I was going to say 3.7 PPR fantasy points incoming.
Yeah. I don't know, man. Simon, your two hot takes this week, or not even really hot takes, but your two your two guys you're leaning on, Rachaad White and Jeff Wilson, looking pretty good right now, dude. DFS lineups out there, especially, you can save a lot of money if those are your two backs, your two RBs on DraftKings or FanDuel.
Feeling pretty good about him. And yeah, not like sleeper guys, but more like RB2s that I think are elevated to RB1 status this week that are up there. That's where I'm feeling about both of these boys.
I just found it on my laptop, and my immediate impulse was to put it in my mouth. Is that bad? I think it's a pretzel from yesterday.
Oh, you want to hear something really gross that I did yesterday, Jay? Like, it wasn't on purpose. I was just like in the zone. Like, we were eating dinner, and I sneezed, and I hadn't chewed much yet. Like, there was food in my mouth, and so like you
got a little food sneeze.
A full carrot was on my arm. Like
not
even cut, not even cut or cooked. It's like a Bugs Bunny carrot.
Without thinking, I went, and my girlfriend goes, "You did not," and I was like, "Oh my god!" Like, but it was already in my mouth. I wasn't going to spit it back out again. I was like, "Yeah, I just ate that carrot." Yep,
dude. Can't.
Had it looked chewed at all, I would not have. Know what I mean? But it was like fresh in my mouth. The sneeze was a surprise. Achoo! And then it went right back in.
Achoo.
Oh my god, dude. Horrifying.
Just a little glazed, said Tommy.
Just a little glaze.
Yeah, who doesn't like a little glaze on their carrots? And Craig saying Keyshawn Vaughn breakout incoming. Oh god.
Imagine. Yeah.
I can't imagine that. Like, I have, as someone who's played fantasy for years and years, that's exactly what I'm like conditioned to expect. Right.
You guys remember when you know how I always bring up how that 1 year, it was like the worst drafting year of my life, where I drafted Rashad Penny, Ronald Jones, Royce Freeman, all in the first round. I had like 3 first-round picks. I was this close to going Keyshawn Vaughn the next year, and I was like, you know what? This feels like a trap again. And thank God it was. He was going in the first round.
In Dynasty, I have my share of Keyshawn Vaughn and Justice Hill. Those are two guys.
Oh yeah, Justice Hill. I definitely got duped.
Ouchie.
Royce Freeman, I was in on. I know you got him that year, Joe, but I think I eventually got him from you. Probably. If I'm not mistaken. And I was ready. I was like, this dude, every time he signed with a new team or every time there was I was like, oh, it's time. It's Royce Freeman season.
He said, I just gagged at your story, Simon.
Yeah, dude. No nose. It's
and the
like,
carrot on top of that. Like, you didn't need to eat that carrot. Like,
not
all
even
the
quarter
things,
after,
carrots are so disposable.
Right.
Yeah.
It's quarter after 7. You're talking about nose carrots, bro. Come on.
Nose carrots.
Okay. The carrot did not come out of my nose. Just so we're clear.
You open mouth sneezed?
No. Okay. But what seems more likely?
That's Eli Manning sneeze.
With the velocity, the carrot snuck out. I told you it was a fresh bite caught by surprise. Or in your mind, the more likely outcome is that the carrot, the full chunk unchewed, traveled through my nasal cavity and out my nose. That's what you guys think.
I think that's how it went down.
Whole carrot.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
It's hard to know. It's hard to be sure. You got it. That's why you got it. That's why you got to eat it to be sure.
Yeah, it was mouth. It was a mouth carrot.
It was a mouth carrot.
Craig said having 5 kids and a dog, that is close to the grossest thing I saw yesterday. Yeah, that's fair. I bet on Thanksgiving you got to just got to cut your losses on some of that stuff.
I did see a pretty gross thing yesterday. We took Rosie and Maria's family's dog Sammy for a walk yesterday. And we went to this giant field in our neighborhood, and all along the field are these giant poops. And I have no idea what they came from. Like, there's no way those are deer poops. They're huge.
You got to get your dog. You got to get your dog out of that situation.
I know, it's a poop minefield.
Yeah, squanch.
That's some squanch poops probably, Jay.
That's some squanch poops. You're probably right.
I've heard there's been sightings in the DC area recently. So keep your eyes peeled for that Sam squanch running around.
I will.
Oh, Craig wants to know, was Simon visiting the area recently? No, it's been a little while. Mine should be a little bit degraded at this point. Like, not as.
It wouldn't be that fresh.
Yeah, it wouldn't be that fresh.
Plus, I could spot a Simon poo anywhere.
Yeah, it's filled with nose carrots.
and mac and cheese.
And there's a distinct lack of sweet potato casserole in it.
It's also just puddle.
I did eat mac and cheese yesterday, but the whole time I was thinking, like, I'm eating this because I like it, not because it's Thanksgiving.
You know what's funny?
Because I like it.
We also, which we never have, we had mac and cheese. And I was just thinking about that. I was like, what are you doing here? What are you doing here, man?
Simon was living rent-free in your head.
I know. So I guess it is a Thanksgiving side dish, but
it doesn't feel fair to compare
not
it to
classic.
cranberry sauce. Know what I mean? Like of course mac and cheese beats cranberry sauce. Like duh. So like we can't play it. Mac and cheese beats all of them. Every single side.
I think I forgot to send it to you yesterday, Simon, but on Twitter yesterday I saw someone who put a picture of just like the tube of cranberry, and it was like all hail the tube. And it was just like a can. It was just like the can, it was cranberry sauce, but in the shape of the can. Like it hadn't actually gotten out of that shape yet.
I saw a TikTok that was like, it was them reaching into a cabinet and said, "I don't want your homemade cranberry sauce." And then there was this whole song about wanting it from the can, and it was so aggressive, but it was gorgeous. It was cool. I'm going to send it to you guys.
So true. And dude, we had both on the table. I don't think anybody touched the one that had the lumps in it. Why would you want lumps? That's my question. Who's like, give me those lumps?
Give me those lumps.
Some people, they prefer the homemade. And I will, you know what? My girlfriend's family makes a killer homemade cranberry sauce. It's delicious, but it's not
Nobody
the
eats
can.
it.
It's not the can. It's just not, it doesn't have the grooves. It's not sitting there like gelatinous and oddly shaped and held together by some mysterious force. It's just, it's just there in a bowl. I can trust it.
Guys, I don't know if you saw yesterday, Justin Jefferson now has the most receiving yards by a player through their first 3 seasons in the NFL history.
That's crazy considering how many yards Randy Moss had and like Odell Beckham Jr. Like those guys started pretty hot. So
yeah, they balled out.
That's pretty impressive.
Yeah, Justin Jefferson is fantastic. I mean, just watching that game yesterday, dude, it's insanely talented.
He's the truth.
Unstoppable.
He's the real deal. At the beginning of the season, I feel like in my mind, it was a debate. Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson. Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson. Who's the dynasty wide receiver one? I'm on the Justin Jefferson side. And it's not because of the Jamar Chase injury, just the sheer level of consistency. And with Kirk Cousins that Justin Jefferson puts up week in, week out, he's elevated himself to that top spot for me.
You know what it is, man? Is like, and yesterday as a Patriots fan, I could feel it. It's that the very few players where you sit there on 3rd and 17 and say to yourself, how is this guy going to beat us? How is this guy going to do it here? Right. And then, there were a handful of them where 3rd and 14 or whatever, the dude makes a catch while he's getting popped by Devin McCourty. Like nobody else really gives me that fear. On 3rd, usually you feel pretty good about 3rd and 15, right?
Right.
Not when Justin Jefferson's around.
No. And like he's the kind of player where if I look at the box score and it says less than 125 yards, I'm like, what happened? Know what I mean? Like the fact that like that's the standard. Like most other players, you see 60, 70, you're like, oh hell yeah, good game. Justin Jefferson, if I see 60, 70, I go, oh, did he get hurt and I missed it?
Right.
Like no, like it's the expectations for him just where they are, like what he does week in, week out are so much higher than every other player.
I just feel like every contested catch with him, it's like he grew like one of his arms just grows like a little longer, or like he has like another arm that just somehow always is able to just be like bloop, pull it in.
It's like watching Inspector Gadget play football.
Exactly.
Right?
That's a really good comp.
Yeah.
That's exactly what it feels like.
Go Gadget arm. Calvin Brown in the chat. I've got a gross story for you fellas. Yesterday I worked 6 a.m. to 6 p.m.
Oh no, that's gross. I'm sorry, Calvin.
12-hour shift, bro.
That's a horror story.
You worked at 12 on Thanksgiving?
Yeah, that's an iron. That's an Iron Man, dog.
Brutal, Calvin. Hope you're getting to chill some today.
And then he said green bean casserole trumps mac and cheese because mac is a year-round treat. Green bean casserole is like once or twice a year delicacy. I'm with you. I'm with you on that take. Like mac and cheese, I just don't think of as Thanksgiving. Green bean casserole, I think of as like holidays, but
that's why we left it out. That's why we left it out, right?
You will not hear arguments from me on that, Calvin. I love some green bean casserole. It's my Thanksgiving specialty.
So good.
The Tommy in here going casserole. Even more fantastic. He's doing it with Kirk Cousins, and then he's giving us his little wide receiver rankings: Adams, Jefferson, Lamb, Chase as his favorite or best wide receivers in the NFL.
Okay, so not fantasy wide receivers. Just
I'm guessing not
receivers
fantasy.
in the
I'm
NFL.
guessing best is what I'm guessing.
Jefferson might be making a case to be above Adams. I honestly like. I would have put Adams above Jefferson coming into this year, but I'm feeling like Jefferson might be above Adams.
Yeah, very close. But Adams is so good, dude. He's awesome.
He is amazing, and D Hop's got to be in that combo.
Yeah, I do think D Hop deserves to be in that combo.
I don't think he's number one, but I think he deserves to be in the combo.
He deserves another comma to be in this sentence. D-Hop does. Wherever it goes, there should be one more comma and then the name D-Hop.
Anybody else in that group that we're missing here that you guys think should be considered one of the best NFL wide receivers, or who will join that group shortly?
Hot take. Terry
Seriously.
McLaurin. Terry McLaurin,
That's
I
very hot
think,
take.
deserves to be in the conversation as one of the best wide receivers in the NFL. There's nothing that dude's not good at when you watch him play. The biggest flaw in his game has been Taylor Heineke, Carson Wentz, and the other mismatch of people throwing him the ball. I think if Terry McLaurin had one of these like elite quarterbacks or even above average quarterbacks, we'd be talking about him up there.
Yeah.
Like I think the attention hasn't been on him because of the team he's been on and the quarterback throwing him the ball. But I think he's just as good.
Wow, the disrespect to Darius Slayton, bro.
Darius Slayton.
To not be mentioned. To not be mentioned amongst these fellas after pretty consistent, this guy.
I was talking to Maria's dad and Dr. Microanalysis yesterday about it, and it's like, yeah, it's like it's crazy. Slayton went from being like almost cut to just being the wide receiver one on the team. I'm like, is that not what Slayton has done like the last like 3 years? It's always been like, wow, this guy like he's about to get pushed out, and then like, oh, everyone's hurt. Time for Slayton.
All he needed, dude. Honestly, though, it's like when you're a guy like that, all you need is for Sterling Shepard to be out for the season, and Wan'Dale Robinson, and Kadarius Toney to get traded, and Kenny Golladay to not show up, and Daniel Bellinger's eyeball to fall out, and then all of a sudden you're right there in the mix. You're right in the mix.
Right there. You're right there.
Add in no more Evan Ingram on the team either. Like from the beginning of the season, and then it's
dude.
Easy peasy. You always like a player where you can see a clear path to targets, right?
Right.
That's what you look for during the draft season. And Coop,
I think-
that path you laid out, we should have all been looking at.
We should have been ready for this monster 3-catch game by Darius
It's
Slayton.
not a 3-catch game, yeah. I think CeeDee Lamb deserves to be in that combo. I think if he's not in that combo now, he's gonna be pretty soon.
Yeah, he makes some fun catches, I will say.
He's good.
He made another one yesterday.
Yeah.
And Tommy had him up there at number 3 ahead of Jamar Chase. So
Whoa.
Oh, okay. So he was in that list. My bad.
yeah,
Whoa.
Adams, Jefferson, Lamb, and Chase were the 4
I don't
names
read so
listed
good.
there. I don't remember so good.
Ahead.
Together, we are idiots.
Front yard fantasy.
Hey.
I
Same
mean,
thing.
front yard
Same
fantasy. Calvin said medical field. I am off today and donating plasma tomorrow.
I figured if you were working at 12 that it was probably medical field.
Well,
what a
Medical
dude.
profession.
Thank you, Calvin. Appreciate you, man.
You're the man, Calvin.
You're the man.
You man,
Enjoy your
Cal.
day off today.
Yeah, you deserve it, bro.
Greg said, I think Coop had mentioned the Vikings being bad against the tight ends. That was correct again. Henry should have had a huge game.
Yeah, that play, man, that's such a tough one because, the ball did move, but the ball really didn't. I'm talking about the second touchdown that Hunter Henry essentially had. The ball really didn't hit the ground. If anything, I thought that what they should have called that as is a catch at the 1 yard line because, like, his hand was under the ball, then it got bobbled and he controlled it. Maybe you don't say it's a touchdown, but I mean, the ball really didn't hit the ground, So I don't know. That play was. I mean, it's a tough one for the refs, but really changed the game. That play.
Yeah.
Yeah. Coop
Could have had
said
2 touchdowns. Could have had 2 touchdowns. So
2 touchdowns. CeeDee
Woulda,
Lamb.
shoulda.
no, that's Hunter Henry.
Hunter Henry. I said the wrong name. I was thinking Hunter Henry, but I
Lamb.
said CeeDee Lamb.
I can see how you
Goodwin.
I can see how you get those 2 confused.
Yeah, they look a lot alike. It's
Very
the personality.
similar.
They're both just full of life and love. CeeDee Lamb and Hunter Henry, but they are lacking the laugh. It's the one piece missing.
The one piece missing.
Yeah, for a complete person, you need the live, the laugh, and the love. But they just don't have. They don't have the love yet. But they're gonna
Shame.
get there. They just need to meet me first, and then they'll have the love in their life. Coop, I had a question for you. You watched the dog show yesterday?
No, I didn't, dude. Did you?
I did. In its
How was
entirety.
it?
I had football on as well, but I watched it in its entirety. The entire time.
Did
All
you have
they
the
were
volume on the dog show or the football?
full blast.
Oh, it's chaotic.
I love sound coming from like every corner. They kept talking about the entire dog show, about the French bulldog that would be shown later in the group. They were like, this is the number 1 dog in the country. It has won the most best in shows. They're like, it is the number. And then they bring Winston out and they put him on the table and they're doing, and like, I don't know shit about dog shows. Like, I don't know how they judge dogs, but I looked at that dog and I like for not 1 second did I question that it was the number 1 dog in the country. You know what I mean? Like I looked at him,
all
just
those
the
other
way,
dogs look like garbage.
the way he was standing, I was like, he's number 1 and he knows it. Like that dog is fully aware that he's the one to beat. And then when they announced the winner as the French Bulldog, before the owner reacted, they said, and the winner is the French Bull. And the Bulldog turned around and jumped into the owner's arms. Like he knew he had won. The handler didn't even react yet. And the Bulldog is airborne to like celebrate with him. And I was like, that dog, like you arrogant son of a gun, you little Frenchie. Like he was so arrogant. He knew he was going to win.
That's magical.
Tommy
That's
said,
magical.
"Do you have a diamond
so
grill?"
But you knew he was going to win too.
Well, because the whole broadcast, they like wouldn't shut up. They were like, this is the number 1 dog in the country. Just wait for the French Bulldog. He is number 1.
That the craziest part is that like I would be so skeptical, but you're saying that the dog lived up to the hype.
It lived up to the hype. That was a good Frenchie. And I was sitting there like doubting the whole time. I was like, nah, like I've seen some pretty damn good dogs. Like these are a bunch of good boys that I've seen running around up here and good girls. But the Frenchie pulled it out.
He came on and you were like, you're like,
it was more like,
it was like, okay, I see it.
It was more like oh, I guess
Winston.
I just wasted the last hour of my life cheering for other dogs.
For
You know what I mean?
inferior
Like,
dogs.
like, why did I spend so much time trying to pick a different dog when
I
that
could
one
have
was
just been
gonna
watching
show up?
Winston.
Who was your favorite before Winston kind of stole the show?
There was
Yeah,
like
who was your Winston before Winston?
the Norwegian Laphund is what it was, or something like that. It
It's a
was
long
really
name.
little and wiry and skinny and kind of looked like a deer that got turned into a dog and then shrunk down. And he was funny and scrappy, and I loved him. I love a scrappy dog.
Yeah,
Tommy in the chat said, I have a serious question. How the heck was the CeeDee TD not a touchdown? If you tap two toes anywhere in the field, you are in, but his heel came down, so no touchdown. You did the same thing on the sideline. Is it not a catch? It's not. It's not a catch on the sideline either.
That's a new interpretation of the rule that is so stupid, so criminally stupid. The heel rule, right? Because it was like if his heel touched and then his toes went out, technically that's a touchdown. I don't know why they decided that would be the rule.
I don't know why, but it seems a little intuitive to me. Like, because the toe tap is very intentional versus like when your heel comes down, it's not like right. It shows that you're not as in control versus a toe tap where you're on your toes and then you fall, right? And you leave the field. Your toes don't actually hit the sideline in a toe tap versus when your heel comes down, your feet are touching the sideline before your body touches the sideline.
Yeah,
the rest of your body.
It's so crazy, man. It's so dumb. And it's like if you touch your toes and then lift your feet up and then both your feet land out of bounds, then it's a touchdown. But if your heel comes down, I don't know. It's the most annoying.
So you need to tap your toes and then leap out of bounds and not let your heel touch the ground.
Not leap, but just fall without like your feet can't, like your feet have to establish themselves in bounds and then you can fall out of bounds versus your feet never actually establishing themselves in bounds because you're like the back of your foot touched the
or you just gotta have spring of your toes, dude. Just bouncing on right off your toes. Stronger, springier toes, like
longer
toes.
Boys, I got some long toes. I think I'd be great at this rule. I got all the spring in my toes. It's all about the tip toe touches right there. I think it's dumb as well. I think if the toes come down and then the heel comes down, like that's silly that if you would have just like hopped out of bounds that it would have counted. But if you put your heel down, it doesn't count. Tommy said, but an ass cheek is in. Yeah. I mean, honestly, it's much harder to like land with an ass cheek in than with your toes. Probably. I don't have as much control over like landing butt down than I do with my toes. You guys have as much control going that way?
I have full tactile control of my butt cheek, each butt cheek.
Now, Simon, do you have long butt cheeks like your toes? So you could just kind of
just pretty standard. I got the standard model right there. Calvin wanted to know, what were your guys' favorite touchdown celebrations yesterday?
Ooh. You know which one I didn't love was the Cowboys one where they all jumped in the big salvation pot.
Well, Zeke did that a couple years ago.
Yeah, it just didn't feel like they executed quite the same. Like they're going for the Zeke, a callback. I did like Jamal Williams. He's done it before where he does a little salsa.
Yeah. I did like, so even though I'm a Pats fan, I did like the group gritty that
that was pretty cool.
But TJ Hawkinson's gritty later was definitely from the Mike Gesicki school of the gritty. Like,
Yeah.
not great.
Peyton and Tommy and Craig coming in talking about the whack-a-mole celebration from Peyton Hendershot.
Dude,
Yeah. It's probably not a hot take, or it probably is a hot take.
Cowboys backup tight ends, man, had a day. You had the whack-a-mole from Peyton Hendershot, and then the hurdle by Jake Ferguson was so clean. Did you guys see that? Oh, he had the cleanest hurdle. Like, I don't even think it touched the guy. It was beautiful. I love me a good hurdle.
So do we. That's why Najee Harris will forever be one of my favorite players to watch, because Jalen and I've talked about it. He just he goes into every play searching for the hurdle opportunity. It feels like he is thinking as he's about to get the ball, like, how can I get airborne? Like, that's the number one thought on his mind. It's like, I'm going to end up in the air. And sometimes you watch him and he jumps completely unnecessarily. Or way before the pile. Just like, I'm going up. This is the time. I don't come back down. It's like he's trying to fly every time.
The Lions used to have a dude that would do that. It didn't work out very well for him at the end of the day. But remember Javid Best? Like, that dude.
That's a name
running back. Javid Best, where at the end of every play, he would just be like, all right, we're going up. Like, no matter what, he would just jump. Just see if he could get an extra 1 or 2 yards. But it was, I think at the end of the day, he had a couple too many concussions. That's probably part of it.
He was an Olympic track athlete. I forgot about that. Was he a long jumper by any chance? Or just a sprinter?
Triple jump.
Yeah, he did the triple jump. That would make a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Guys, coming up, we're going to keep on breaking down this news for you, let you know all the things that you need to know. And of course, if you've got questions for us, fantasy questions about life, questions about football, questions about your marriage, you can bring them here to the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show. We'd be more than happy to answer all of them for you. We'll be playing some Hypothetically a little bit later today as well. And then our friend Vinnie Iyer is joining the show to play some poll perception. And as always, heading into week 12, we are going to have our prop bet draft a little bit later today as well, with the losers having to pay out an impression bet. You're listening to the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Better Sports Network.
Or not.
The Playbook with Fensty and Ronis, presented by FantasyAlarm.com.
The only person, I've said this to you before, who I believe back then, of all those power hitters who truly was clean, Ken Griffey Jr.
I mean, I think so when he got
Body
hurt.
didn't change.
We'll never know that for sure either.
Nah, dude.
We've seen guys who were not big take substances.
That's true.
To get busted. So it's not about that always.
I hear you. It's just, don't you think with the way his career kind of went, you would think that he didn't take anything?
I don't think he did, but we'll never know 100%.
I'm going to keep telling myself that he didn't. The 1 year player, I mean, he's my favorite baseball player of all time. In the 1990s, Ron, as a kid, as a 5-year-old kid who plays video games and collected cards, there was no one cooler than Ken Griffey Jr. I still wear my hat backwards because Ken Griffey Jr. did it and he looked really cool doing that, wearing a backwards baseball cap. Like, he made everything the guy did looked cool. Even the home run in the movie Little Big League, it's acting, it's all, I guess, fake, but even he made that look cool. I mean, Ken Griffey Jr., you're a little bit older than me, but in the 90s, besides Michael Jordan, was there a more loved athlete than Ken Griffey Jr.?
Yeah, no, I love Griffey. He's one of my favorite players ever, from defensively to hitting his swing. And yeah, I would have loved to see what he could have done if he had stayed healthy, the final numbers he'd finished with. So no, I was a huge fan of Ken Griffey, and it's a shame though that all those injuries towards the end of his career just really limited the production he put up, but he still put up elite numbers. He was so fun to watch. So I'm a huge Ken Griffey guy.
And here's the other thing too. So 1994, the season got shortened because of the strike.
And he finished with 40 homers in 111 games that year, man. And then he had 56 2 years in a row, 97 and 98, and then 48. He had a stretch 4 years in a row, 49, 56, 56, 48, 40. I mean, unbelievable. And then, yeah, once he hit like 31, he started to miss games, 111, 70, 53, 83. So think about that, all those years that he lost, and he still hit 630 home runs, man. Yeah. So if he was clean, he would have been the all-time home run champion. Again, we're all guessing here, but you would think, all right, well, once he got into age 31, 32, that's when the body started breaking out, which is typical, right, for someone who's not using anything. Whereas we saw Barry Bonds just get better with age, and we did not see that with Griffey. So look at 2001, where he's 31, he played on. Look at the home runs decline: 8, 13, 20, 35, 27, 30, 18, 15 to his age 38 season. Even age 39 in 170 games, he had 19 home runs. So he probably would have definitely been the all-time home run leader had he been able to stay healthy.
Better Sports Network. It's sports talk done better.
Hey, welcome in everyone to the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Better Sports Network.
To the game.
Auto game.
Ow! I need this chair to be less comfortable.
Dude,
I'm
you
like-
look
I'm-
so cozy right now. I see you like yawning over there. You're about to
I'm like
fall
at my
asleep in
parents'
your-
house. I had my feet up on like an ottoman here. Like I'm just like cooling right now, dude. My vibes are a little off.
Is that a fireplace behind you too?
Yeah, it's real.
Damn,
Get it
bro.
roaring. If that
Bro.
fireplace was roaring, Coop, I'd give you about 10 minutes.
Dude, I'd be
before
sleeping
you
in that
went
chair
out
behind you.
cold.
That chair behind you
Listen.
looks like it's perfect for a good old nap.
And I know the feet.
During
That's what
the
recliner
break,
is,
during the
isn't
break,
it?
I was lying right there. Dude, this place, my dad's man cave here is better decorated than my actual
Your
like,
own home
office.
studio,
Yeah, look at, I should be
Damn,
over
look
there.
at
Look at
that,
that. Yeah, that's nice, dude.
How do you
Look at his
figure out the
collectibles.
arrangement of his frames?
Oh, he's
I
got
never
all
figured
sorts
that
of
out.
them. That's what I'm saying, dude. He's got all sorts of cool stuff.
The
going
mantle
on
with
here.
the memorabilia on there.
I need his help.
Dude,
You know how
right
I
behind
enjoy-
me. That football has, dude, the autographs
sign
on
it?
that. So I actually did, which takes away from the value of it because I was a kid. But
You actually signed it.
dude, so this is my fault. That is a ball of mine that I got from like this like camp I did, like Patriots camp. And I got a bunch of cool autographs on it, but I put my name on it. And I also was getting like autographs from like whoever. So it's like there's amazing autographs on there. There's Belichick, Adam Vinatieri, Richard Seymour, but there's also like
Carl,
Dawn-
the vendor.
Dawn
Concession
the
guy.
Dawn the cheerleader. Like there's like two cheerleader. Like
Phil, the
my
parking
own-
lot attendant.
Yeah, one side there's a big scrape from when I threw it to my buddy Doug, but he was like he played like offensive guard, so he didn't even come close to catching it. And my dad was like, "Why are you throwing that?" I'm like, "It's a football."
That's
I bet
hilarious.
you asked Steve Belichick to sign it and he just licked it and then handed it back to you. Like he
Dude.
was just like, that'll work.
Steve Belichick was probably like 13 years old when that thing like, those names are all from 2001.
Dude,
You
he was
can't
still
get-
being weird.
Yeah,
So he
it's,
did sign it, but it's just in like really shitty kid handwriting. Like it's like really scratched on it. Like he
crayon.
just learned cursive like
Yeah.
yesterday.
Yeah, but that ball, it's like it's got some great signatures, but also some terrible ones.
Your dad's got the hookup down there. He's got some pretty awesome pieces of memorabilia. The beer
Yeah.
signs. He's got some high quality beer signs.
Yeah, that one right there with the Clydesdales. That Budweiser one with the Clydesdales on it, clean.
One of my
Strong.
biggest regrets in life. I was looking for decorations for my first college apartment. And so, but I was in charge of bar stools, right? And so I was looking all over Craigslist. I was working in downtown Atlanta that summer. And I was like, okay, like I found this guy on Craigslist who had bought a barbecue restaurant that closed down and then was selling everything inside of it. And so I went in, bought the bar stools, but he had all these beer signs up all over the place. So I bought a bunch of like the wooden ones, but he had a 6-foot tall Corona neon surfboard that he wanted to sell for $75. And I was a broke college kid and I was like, I can't do it. But looking back, man, what a deal. What a bargain $75 was for that.
Somebody got
Absolutely
hooked up.
ridiculous. They got hooked up. Guys, yesterday I saw a story or an update on Odell Beckham Jr. coming from Ari Myrov. He said free agent wide receiver Odell Beckham Jr. has visits set up with the Giants, Cowboys, and Bills, and has also been in conversations with the Ravens and Chiefs. And this is per Josina Anderson. He's going to start his visits in early December. So finish out this month and start his visits in early December. And it's the teams that we've been talking about. Know what I mean? Like the three that he's got visits scheduled with, the Bills, Cowboys, and Giants. I feel like we're the three most rumored teams. But then the Ravens and Chiefs having conversations as well is interesting. JL, what does this make you feel whenever you hear Odell Beckham Jr.'s in conversations with these teams, has 3 visits planned.
I feel like it's bigger news than it probably should be. I can't imagine OBJ goes back to the Giants. That would be such a strange move in my mind. That would be like, out of all the options there, that would be the weirdest outcome. I could see him going to the Bills. Like I could see a Rams type of situation. Like
I think the Rams are probably off the table at this point because the Rams,
not the Rams. I was just saying like we would see. I could see him going to the Bills because it's similar to like how the Rams signed him because they're going for a Super Bowl run. That's what I'm saying. Not that he would sign again with the Rams.
Right. Yeah, the Rams are kind of. To be honest, they're kind of out of it.
They're probably I don't think they're really. I don't think they have any illusions that they're disillusioned.
Schedule's bad. We went through it. That schedule's tough. That there's only a couple games that you feel like the Rams are favorites in.
Yeah, I could see Cowboys making a run at it. I could see Bills making a run at it.
Yeah,
Chiefs would be interesting. Chiefs would also be interesting. I could see them being in the mix. It's kind of surprising they're not as in the mix as these other teams that, according to Ari here, but.
Yeah, maybe that's them and not OBJ. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Maybe the Chiefs maybe it's not as necessary of a piece for them as it is for some of these other teams. Because while their wide receiver room is spread out, they have a lot of options in there that they've shown they like using this year.
True.
So
have we gotten an injury update on Odell's close friend on the Buffalo Bills, Von Miller? He got carted off yesterday with a knee. I haven't seen anything yet. I mean, that was a big part of the recruiting. Like you saw a bunch of pictures this offseason. They were going to basketball games together. Like those guys are good friends. So I don't know. I mean, hopefully Von's all right, dude. He's such a good dude, but it didn't look good yesterday.
It did not.
The most recent update is that he's going to undergo an MRI. So we know he's going to get an MRI. That'll likely happen today. So we'll likely get that news trickling in today as we find out. But yeah, hopefully that dude's all right. He changed that defense. He changes that defense when it's out there on the field. Just him.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter what jersey I'm wearing or is hanging behind me. Like injuries suck. Nobody wants I want to beat the Bills. I don't want the Bills to lose because somebody got hurt. You know what I mean? Like I think across the board, nobody wants to see guys get hurt. So hopefully he's all right.
I want to beat you when we're both fully capable and you have no excuse to fall back on, right? Like you can't say, "Oh, my starters were hurt."
I want to beat you when you're fully at force and I'm down 5 guys. Then it feels even better.
Like the Lions yesterday, almost.
I'm such a spiteful fantasy analyst that sometimes I'll be like, "Oh, this guy's going to be terrible this year," and then then he gets hurt and I get mad. I'm like, no, you were supposed to play and be bad.
Yeah.
You weren't supposed to get cop out. Yeah. Get your ass back out there and play terribly.
Get out there and humiliate yourself so I can victory lap.
Exactly, dude. You quit bailing everybody out.
I saw Schefter tweeted this yesterday. Lions running back Jamal Williams now has as many rushing touchdowns this season as he did during the 5 seasons using Green Bay.
That's the power of God in anime.
He is this year's James Conner. There's not a doubt in my mind. He is this year's James Conner.
Star.
Touchdown star.
DeAndre Swift fans cannot catch a break, bro. Swift with an amazing run yesterday. Powers the ball down to the 1-inch line.
Get this. We talked a bunch about Swift yesterday, and I believe we were all unanimous. And you gotta sit him, until we see it, you gotta just wait. At the very last second, and I kid you not, I made the swap and he locked in. I swapped DeAndre Swift into my lineup. So I saw that touchdown. And I was like, yes.
Yeah.
But then he still did all right.
I saw that touchdown and I said, what an amazing run by Lions backup running back DeAndre Swift.
Classic.
Now, guys, he did get 8 targets yesterday. DeAndre Swift, while not as involved in the rushing game as usual, he had 8 targets, which I was talking about him as a guy you put on your bench previously. If this is how they're going to use him, if he's going to get 8 targets a game, he's a startable RB2, which we changed our expectations, but if he'll be that involved in the receiving game, I know it's not what you expected. I know it's not what you wanted from DeAndre Swift, but he can be a startable RB2 if this is how they're going to use him.
Well, and it's not that DeAndre Swift isn't good. It's that he's just dealing with an injury, right? So what I saw yesterday is they were trying to work him in as much as they could. Every time I felt like I looked down at the game, it was like, oh, they're giving it to DeAndre Swift. And so I think they're using Jamal Williams to kind of ease him back in, but still it seems like they're chomping at the bit to get the ball in DeAndre Swift's hands. And he looks fantastic. He made a dude miss yesterday, and the guy was just sitting there on the ground, just like, oh man, damn it. But he just fully made the guy miss. Like, he is such a good runner.
Those are those plays where you're sitting on the ground and you're just thinking about how everyone's going to clown you in film on Monday.
100%.
That would legit happen to me in high school. I would be like, I would go the wrong way, and I'd just be like, oh my God.
They're going
like,
to get me for that. They're going to drag me for that one.
Play quarterback, and I turn the wrong way, and then there's no one there, so I have to turn around and try and run it, and I just get crushed. That's my first thought. I'm always like, oh, I'm going to get dragged on this one. Film is a great motivator, dude, because you just know that this isn't the end of it. The bad play isn't over yet until everyone sees it again on Monday.
Right.
Absolutely. We had Calvin in the chat saying earlier he thinks Diggs' name was left off the top wide receiver group. He's in my top 5. So whenever we were bringing up those receivers, we left Diggs off. You guys think Diggs belongs in that conversation?
Absolutely.
I think he does belong in the conversation for sure. I think that what some of these other guys may have had that Diggs really necessarily didn't have is like such a strong early career, performance. It feels like Diggs is going to be coming like his right now and going forward. Like, we've been in the peak of Stephon Diggs. So I think he's absolutely in the conversation. Yeah. I think the next couple of seasons, he's going to really make a case for himself.
Devontae Adams didn't have a phenomenal start to his career, right? Like Devontae Adams came on a little bit later in his career as well. So we could be seeing that but Devontae Adams has also then sustained that for longer than Diggs has, right? Like he's shown us he belongs up there permanently.
Right.
Yeah, people forget Devontae Adams had some pretty serious drop issues when he was first coming out. Yeah. And the other thing to say for Diggs is that there is a natural pecking order to this league where if you're Justin Jefferson and you're a first round pick, you're going to get on the field right away, right? If you're Stephon Diggs and you're a 5th round pick, you kind of have to fight your way onto the field. You don't get that automatic, okay, we invested in this guy. Because in the early parts of the draft, you're filling holes on your team. In the later parts of the draft, you're kind of taking best guy available. So sometimes, 5th, 6th round picks, those guys have to fight their way onto the field versus a Justin Jefferson who, was picked to fill the spot that Diggs vacated. So,
if Diggs hadn't gone to Maryland, if he had chosen a bigger program, I think he very likely would have been a first round pick. But he joined a struggling Maryland program, and I think a big part of that was to be around his family. And so that affected his draft.
And then he spent every game screaming at the coaches on the sideline.
Yeah, and then he also broke his leg, I think.
And he broke his leg, and then he got kicked out of a game for contacting a ref. He had all the red flags off the field, all the non-game red flags that we like to see when we pick guys in Dynasty, right? Give me the guy that has all that baggage versus a guy that just got drafted late because he ran a 4.7.
Right.
Absolutely.
And I saw some of those games whenever Clemson played Maryland. We go up there and watch it. It was fun, man. He's a fun player to watch.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure the years we played them with Stephon Diggs on the team, I'm understanding his frustration as well, because I'm almost positive they had a linebacker starting at quarterback.
The team was very bad.
They went through their starting quarterback got injured, their backup quarterback got injured, their third string quarterback got injured, and they came to Clemson and they had a linebacker under center. They threw the ball 4 times the entire game. It was absurd. Those were some rough Maryland teams that Diggs was playing.
Yeah, my buddy was on that team, and I remember when they came down to Clemson, I was texting oh, you guys are here, that's so dope, and he's just our team sucks, and then we blew them out a ridiculous amount. We just wrecked them.
He just texts you good game, and then doesn't stop by to say anything.
Shout out Big Mike.
We're seeing some updates on Von Miller, that he has a knee sprain but will still miss time, and our friend Sal Capaccio said he just saw Von Miller walking out of the Bills locker room. This was 15 hours ago. He did not walk with crutches or any other assistance. So good news. Good news. It sounds like he'll be all right. Potentially miss a couple games, but he'll be ready to roll come playoff time, most likely. But we still need to wait for that update if they're going to do an MRI today. We'll want to see that.
Absolutely.
We will want to see that. Also, an update on another player that has been injured. It's looking like Chase is going to be good to go for this weekend. to play, even if it's on limited snaps. But Ben Baby on Twitter, he's a Bengals reporter for ESPN, said Chase has looked good this week and hasn't had any setbacks, shaping up for him to play Sunday versus Tennessee. So we could see the return of Jamar Chase.
Let's go.
Yo, wheels up, baby. Lights out.
They need it. They need it, man. That game. So we talk a lot about fantasy. We talk a lot about gambling, DFS. I think that game this week, the Bengals-Titans game, hugely important game for both teams, right? Like both teams are kind of, if so, 6-5, 7-3, like, or 7-4. Both teams have difficult games on the schedule coming up. This could be a turning point for both these teams, and this should be a very good real football game because these are two good teams. So both these teams really kind of need to win this game, especially the Bengals when you look at their schedule, because there's no easy games on that schedule. They have like the Bills, Chiefs, even the Patriots, can put up a little fight. They got some tough games coming up. So I think this is a huge game for both of these teams.
Go Bengals. I don't know why. I just feel like I'm pulling for them. Like, I don't know what it is about that Bengals team. I'm a Browns fan, but they're just – I love T. Higgins. I love Jamar Chase. I like Joe Burrow. I like Joe Mixon. Like, it's just a team that I like to cheer for. Tyler Boyd, I want to see have that success.
Good dude.
So I find myself pulling for the Bengals, except when they're playing the Browns. Who do you think pulls that game out, Coop? You think the Bengals get it? 2.5-point favorites on the road?
Yeah, it's tough. The Bengals are, Chase is limited. They're going to be missing Mixon. Could be tough, man. Could be tough. Just the Bengals also are just a more fun team for fantasy football. Highly consolidated targets versus a team that just, is just kind of Derrick Henry, right?
Just kind of Derrick Henry.
Just kind of Derrick Henry.
Which is still a really good team.
Yeah.
Just Derrick Henry is a good football team.
Right.
Jail, I wanted to give you some props. Yesterday I asked, do you think the Bills are going to cover this 9.5-point spread? And Coop said, yeah, absolutely. And he gave a good reasoning. And then you said, no. You gave your best Zach Wilson impression. I asked why. You said, just because. And you know what? You were right. The Bills did not cover the 9.5-point
they
spread.
did not.
They almost lost that game to the Detroit Lions. They were
I'll go as far as to
so
say
close.
they lost that game to the Detroit Lions. In spirit, they lost that game to the Detroit Lions.
Did you hear the announcers talking during the game? They were like, I just came from the Bills sideline, and let me tell you, it is flat over there. No one is happy. No one is smiling. There is clinical depression happening on the Bills sideline. Like, everyone is frowning actively, using more muscles, and like it just kept getting more like doom and gloom. I felt like as the game went on, even as the Bills took the lead, they were like, there hasn't been a smile in 47 minutes on the Bills sideline. Stephon Diggs is still trying to raise Josh Allen's spirits, but to no avail. Like it was just so aggressive.
They kept showing that like Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs like hug after the game, and Josh Allen is holding Stephon Diggs and just like looking around like oh my God, I almost just lost we almost just lost the Lions. Everyone would have made so much fun of us this week.
We escaped. We just
like
barely
relief.
escaped.
Yeah,
it was like
he's
the end
holding
of
Stephon Diggs, the back of Stephon Diggs' head in like the most intimate way.
Right. It's like the end of every Harry Potter movie when they like just barely, you know what I mean? Like, oh my God, they just barely escaped the Whomping Willow. They're like, oh my God, yeah, that was kind of the end of that game, dude. And if you're the Bills, I mean, yeah, you won, but you have bigger aspirations. You should be steamrolling.
Just showed that you were beatable. You just show more evidence that you're beatable, right? We already saw evidence of that throughout the season, right? Remember the Bills' first loss? Dolphins beat the Bills, and we were all like, "Oh, this is a fluke, right? It's not going to happen. Like Bills are going to, they're so good, they're all around amazing." There are cracks in that team now. Like we see those cracks. They're absolutely beatable. The Lions came in and they completely outplayed the Bills. Bills, it feels like they won because they have their little bag of tricks with Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs, but man, it did not feel like they won that whole game.
In this league, it's about getting hot at the right time. A lot of these teams,
it is
like the Vikings, kind of looking like they got cracks in the armor too. Almost lost to the Patriots that aren't a great team, and they just got crushed by the Cowboys. The Eagles just recently lost.
They lost twice,
Commanders, right? And look at some of the teams that have won the Super Bowl. Like momentum is huge.
Parity in the NFL, baby.
Right? When the Giants beat the Patriots, the Giants came out of nowhere, and the momentum at that time of the season just carried them right through. The Giants were a terrible team for both those seasons, most of the year. And then they came in, just got to get hot at the right time.
Yeah.
If you guys, just last year, the Rams had a rough stretch in the middle of the season last year. 3 consecutive losses, like where people were going like, okay, this Rams team that looked like the clear Super Bowl favorite, like what's happened? Like this happens. It is a long season. There are a lot of games, and boy, is it hard to be like locked in, ready to go every single week. And there's like a mental aspect to this as well, especially when you're on the top, right? Like when you're on the top, there's an additional mental hurdle that you have to pass every single week to stay up there. I'm gonna positive twist this for the Bills. It's good to watch them face adversity. They are injured. Like this is not a full strength Bills team. Know what I mean? Like their defense is beat up a bit. Josh Allen is still a bit injured, and they went out there and they fought through adversity. They had to go out and come back and win this game on the road. So that's they can at least take that from it. Like of course they should have beat them by 30.
Yeah, right now they're playing with the weighted bat. Right, like they're playing with the injuries and all that to Josh Allen, to everybody, and then it's like when you get to full strength, now they're going to be taking hard cuts, right? So sometimes that helps you run with the ankle weights on for a little bit, and then when you're full strength, maybe they take it a little more seriously.
Let it loose, yeah. Hopefully they get back to full strength. I want to see this full strength Bills team by the end of the season. What's up, Albert? Good morning. Albert in the chat saying good morning, everyone. Glad to have you over here.
Albert.
And Calvin had a question for us. Want to know thoughts on Burks. So Treylon Burks, rookie wide receiver on the Tennessee Titans, rest of season for fantasy football. What do you guys think about Treylon Burks rest of season?
This is a huge week. Because last week he had a big game, but a big game doesn't mean everything. It's how you translate that to the next game. And with him, Robert Woods and Nick Westbrook-Akine still led the team in snaps. He was third. He was the man that came out of the game for 2 wide receiver sets. This game is big to me. I don't even care as much if he doesn't have like a 100-yard game again. If he becomes one of the top 2 wideouts on the team that's playing all the snaps, that's what matters most to me. I'd rather see him play 90% of the snaps and have like 50 yards than play like 60% again and have 100 yards, right? Because I care about sustainable success. So that's a huge week for Treylon Burks this week. If he comes out, plays a full snap share, wheels up, dude. He could be this year's Amon-Ra St. Brown, the guy that comes from wide receiver 70, wide receiver 80 to be a guy that crushes for you down the stretch. So excited to see what happens, but cautiously optimistic.
Yeah, they're still the Tennessee Titans are still 47% of their plays are pass plays, which is ranked 30th amongst the NFL teams. They're averaging 26.5 pass plays a game. It's still very, very low. So Treylon Burks, his upside is limited, but he is absolutely the most talented wide receiver on that team. So he's got upside. He's rookie, could break out, but you got to have some tempered expectations. This team might not throw as much as they did against the Packers.
That number's crazy to me, Joe. Like in the modern NFL, you're going to run more than you throw in this economy. What is that?
Right.
That's not. I feel like that's nuts, dude. Running more than you throw.
Running more. Yeah. More plays you're running. Yeah. That is a bit nuts.
Yeah. Just doesn't feel like the formula, but when you have
this past game, they threw 32 times, which was 17th highest in the league, according, amongst all the teams in the league. So they threw a bit higher the last 2 weeks than they have the rest of the season. So maybe we see that trend upwards now that Treylon Burks is back, now that they're throwing a little bit more.
Yeah, we'll see.
We'll see. I'm with you guys. Treylon Burks is a hold, but with excitement. Like you're holding them, you're putting them on your bench, you're not dropping them. You want to see what you got, because this is a rookie wide receiver who could be having a second half of the season breakout. Like that wouldn't be out of character for what we expect from rookie wide receivers. So I'm in on it. Joe, Craig wanted to know, is there a college team that you don't have a friend on?
All of them? Every single one of them right now.
It's just Maryland.
I don't know.
Stephon Diggs and another friend.
Yeah. I grew up in Maryland, so people from my high school went to Maryland.
Makes a lot of sense.
Guys, coming up, we are going to play some Hypothetically, and we've got our friend Vinnie Iyer coming on to play some poll perception as well. And we've got our Week 12 prop bet draft that we're going to be running through. And as always, if you guys have questions for us, anything that you want answered, fantasy football related or not, throw it in the chat or hit that call-in button and come on up with us and ask your question. We would love to answer it. Love to hear from you. You are watching the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Better Sports Network.
Better Sports Live with Rick Kamla.
That's 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 Pacific on Better Sports Network.
Andy Reid is the best current coach in the NFL. He's better than Belichick. Belichick has lost his way. He's better than Tomlin. He's better than Harbaugh. He's better than Shanahan. He's better than McCarthy down in Dallas. He's better than all of the gangster NFL coaches right now. Sean McDermott up in Buffalo, he's better than all these guys. Andy Reid is the greatest gangster that we have at head coach in the NFL right now. And I understand that you're saying, well, Belichick is the GOAT, Cam. How can that be true? Now you're bringing up old stuff. Bill Belichick can't draft anymore, okay? Talk to me. Nick Chubb, Sony Michel. Talk to me. DK Metcalf, Debo Samuel versus N'Keal Harry, okay? Talk to me. This dude has lost his way. Remember the year when he should have bottomed out and just tanked, but he couldn't, and he went and got Cam Newton, and they were a mediocre team, right? He's lost his way. And not that he can't coach up a good defense and that kind of thing, but overall, he's lost his way. Andy Reid's an absolute badass. They draft great. He's a great coach, makes the right decisions, when to go for it, when to kick, when to punt. The guy's the man.
The Playbook with Fensty and Ronis, presented by FantasyAlarm.com.
I hate the stupid unsportsmanlike conduct. As long as you're not disrespectful to the opponent, you should be allowed to celebrate.
How I used to say it, and to bring up, because now basketball's starting, I'm going to bring up.
Oh, dude, it's even worse than basketball, isn't it?
So Dikembe Mutombo, who used to get teed up in the 2000s, the 90s, they didn't give a crap. 2000s, though, when they tightened up the rules, they used to tee him up more when he did the Dikembe finger wag. But they wouldn't tee him up if he did it to the crowd instead of looking at, like, Eton Thomas, like one time I remember, and doing it right to him, or when his back was turned, doing it right to him. If he did it to the crowd, they would never call it. And so that makes me wonder if these players, while, yeah, they want to talk a little smack, maybe they should flex towards the crowd than at the player who they're standing over.
I guess.
I know it's soft, man.
It is soft.
Because you know what?
Like we're gonna give 15 yards for that,
bro. They think that, you know, want to know why they're paranoid? They think that's gonna turn into a fight.
See, I disagree with that. That's not going to start a fight.
I agree with you. They don't agree with us.
It's one thing, okay, if you spit in someone's face or say something derogatory, like about their family or something,
right.
Yeah, that can incite it. But if you're just like, yeah, I made that play, what? You know what I mean? Like, again, they know the rules. You got to know you're going to get flagged. You have to have discipline. But, like, I don't know. I have no problem with celebration as long as it's not disrespectful.
What's disrespectful? You know,
it's interpretation, and that's my problem. Watch, it's going to cost someone in a big playoff game, and that's when people are going to go crazy. There'll be a third down play. Someone makes a pass breakup, and they're in someone's face. They're going to throw a flag. It'll extend the drive. That team scores, wins the playoff game because of it. You need something drastic for it to really leave an imprint, and I hope that doesn't happen to mine.
Better Sports Network is betting, fantasy, collectibles. It's sports talk done better.
What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Better Sports Network. We are about to get into a game we call Hypothetically. Hypothetically is a game where we pose preposterous situations, would you rather scenarios, different situations that our hosts may find themselves in. And your only job is to overthink the hell out of them and tell me what you would do in said situation. I'm going to be running it today, JL. You and Coop are going to be playing. You guys are responsible for filling out these hypothetical situations. Are you guys ready?
Yep.
Yeah.
I got one for you. This one came to me yesterday while I was watching the parade and then Into the Dog Show. And I proposed this to my girlfriend and then wrote it down here. Would you rather, in the Macy's Day Parade, they are announcing the grand finale. Mariah Carey did the grand finale, sang her hit, All I Want for Christmas Is You. So they are announcing, and Mariah Carey, for the grand finale of the Macy's Day Parade, they cut the camera, and it's you standing there with a microphone, and you have to sing the entirety of All I Want for Christmas Is You by memory in the Macy's Day Parade. Or earnestly give your best effort as a dog in the National Dog Show on television. You are on a leash. You have a handler. So you either have to perform All I Want for Christmas Is You in the Macy's Day Parade with everyone expecting Mariah Carey, or in earnest, compete as a dog in the National Dog Show.
First question, if I may. Now, for the dog show, do I get the Winston treatment? Like, are they talking me up a little bit? Do I get a little, you know what I mean? Like, are they like, oh, wait till you see this Fiasco Shepherd coming up later.
Fiasco
Like,
Shepherd.
are they firing me up a little bit, or is it just like all of a sudden I'm on the screen and everyone's like, what?
There's just a human on a leash.
Oh.
And I mean, if you've won
does
any
everybody
bested
realize
shows,
there's a human on a, like, does everyone know you're a human and you're a human in a dog show, or
no one else is in on it? Like, it is odd that there is a human on a leash in there, but you have to like in earnest, like prance around the arena and let them like check your legs and your feet and stuff like that.
Tommy read my mind with the question. What am I wearing in both situations?
So the Macy's Day Parade, whatever you were wearing at 11:45 a.m. Eastern time yesterday. So like whatever you had on, you were just transported to do that for Mariah Carey instead. So like whatever, if you had your pajamas on, whatever it was, that's what you were rocking.
I've been wearing Patriots jerseys for 3 straight days. So. I think Wednesday was Wednesday was Ty Law. Yesterday was Devin McCourty, and today is Ben Coates. So
Ben Coates.
I'd be wearing it.
Coates.
I'd be out there. I'd be out there wearing this, and they'd be like, "Look at it! Look how fine his coats is."
For the dog show, you're wearing very fancy clothes. It's different outfits. Like if you watch it, they wear like fancy clothes, but from like a 1997 business meeting fancy. Like that's the kind of outfits that they wear. So as the dog, that's what you've got on as well.
Oh man.
Do you get to practice for either one?
You know what? The Mariah Carey one, I think some of it is like you're just in the moment. Know what I mean? Like you've been practicing your whole life probably singing that song.
I don't. If you ask me right now to sing it, there's not a chance that I can sing the entire song. Well, like I would not remember all the lyrics. I wouldn't remember how it all goes. And so I feel like it makes it a little easier decision for me because I could just go to that dog. I'll just go to that dog show and I will go straight for comedic value.
You know what? You can pull it up on your phone if you want to. You can pull up the lyrics that way. That's
so much worse. I'm gonna look so much worse holding my phone up while I'm singing.
If I got the practice, that would be an easy Mariah Carey. But you're right. I can't think of a single other word from that song besides "All I Want for Christmas Is You."
It's just the chorus over and over again. It's all that's happening. And if everyone's looking at me, there's no way I'm gonna be able to be like, okay, JL, think back to what's in that song.
Right? Yeah, I would definitely be just like throwing out lines from other Christmas songs. I mean, it's all the same stuff anyway. I'd be dropping some Bublé in there, just throwing out whatever I could think of.
Can I win the dog competition? Like, is there any opportunity to win?
You could be the you have to convince him. You know what I mean? There's not going to be any favors thrown your way, but like, if you are the best dog as a human, you can win the dog show. What group would you guys be in? The sporting group, the herding group, the toy group. There's all these tiny little dogs, and JL walks out on a leash, just
big, just massive compared to these other toys.
Just getting in scraps with the other dogs, like barking it up with the boys.
Barking up with the boys.
JL starts barking at the Bichon Frise next to him.
Scaring the hell out of it.
Fighting with the other dogs over toys and stuff. The more I think of it, the more I'm definitely doing the dog show one.
Yeah, I think I got to go to the dog show as well. It's just like it makes the most sense. I feel like less of my friends are going to actually see it, and so they're like, I'm not going to get dragged the same way I am at a Macy's Day Parade for like butchering Mariah Carey song when everyone's expecting Mariah Carey that I can't remember, and I'm like looking at my phone trying to recall the lyrics.
Right. Exactly. I'm just much more confident in my ability to pretend to be a dog than I am to
be Mariah Carey.
To pretend to be Mariah Carey.
Yeah.
Seriously though, I'm probably closer to a dog than I am to Mariah Carey.
Jill, I will say less of your friends will probably see it in the moment, but I know if there was a human pretending to be a dog and acting like they were supposed to be there,
it's gonna hit the news outlets.
Oh, that's going viral. That is everywhere.
Is this
you're gonna be on the Twitters?
Tommy raises a good point. Is this is there the potential to lip sync the Mariah Carey song instead of having to sing the whole thing?
If that's the case, I'll take that for sure. Dude. We're like, man,
I don't know for
then
sure.
It's Mariah Carey's
I don't
voice.
know for sure that they lip sync. But you can take that gamble. Know what I mean? Like that's part of the choice. There's a very high probability that they lip sync and that they've got that ready to go. But you're right, it's still Mariah Carey's voice.
Do you know?
Coming out.
I'm still a dog, man.
Do you know Mariah Carey has like her voice is, and everyone knows she has a really good voice, but you know that she has like a super like crazy range of octaves to the point where like she's on like a Wikipedia page where there's only like 30 or 40 people that are on it.
Oh, I bet.
She has like a very crazy voice, 6 octaves. It's like
That's
her
wild.
And like Freddie Mercury and like a handful.
That's
of people.
wild.
Yeah. She has like serious voice. And then there's another one with like, because I've looked at these Wikipedia pages. There's another like 7 octave list, and it's all these like classically trained dudes and ladies, except the one guy on the list is the guy from the band Faith No More. Do you remember that band?
No.
They had that song that was like, "What is it? This is you want it all, but you can't have it." You remember that song?
Not at all. Not a single recollection.
Tommy's got you in the chat though. He knows it.
Yeah. Tommy too. Me and Tommy on the same page, bro. Gravy over everything. But so like this guy has like the craziest, most amazing voice, and he sings, and his actual band songs are all like garbage. Somebody should just take this guy and be like, hey, let's sing some real songs. You know what I mean?
Squandering his gift.
You're squandering. Yeah, exactly, dude. It's like, yeah, ridiculous, bro. But,
you guys both going with the dog show? Is that
Going
what it
with the
sounds
dog
like?
show.
Got to.
I'm
I
peeing
can't
all
wait to
over
see
that
the-
place.
Joe's gonna be a bad dog. He's like, I'm not winning anyways. I'm making it a show.
I'm peeing on the judges. I'm just being a menace.
Just peeing on Winston, dude. Just imagine just sabotaging Winston's show too. Just being
Yeah.
like,
Oh yeah. I'm gonna 100% sabotage Winston.
being like, Winston, come here.
Pompous
You're like,
Frenchie.
you and Winston go and you like get into like a hot dog stand and just ruin his show.
Yeah. I
You come back,
just
you just
lure
come
Winston
in-
to the
with
dark
mustard
side.
all over his fur.
mustard and like relish, dude.
His owner's like, Winston, no.
Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, now that we've established that, 100% got to pick the dog show.
Gotta
Yeah,
pick the
Winston,
dog
that's
show.
like going to see your favorite artist and Weird Al comes out. He's cool, but not really what you were expecting. Give me the dog.
Gotta do it.
I mean,
You nailed it,
honestly, the
Gavin.
dog show's also kind of like going to see your favorite artist and Weird Al comes out.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
like both of them
But at
are
least-
kind of.
But at least your expectations aren't like ruined because you're not losing. Like the rest of the dogs are still there. You still get the rest of the dog show. You just get the rest of the dog show and Weird Al pretending to be part of it. It'd be like Mariah Carey out there, but then also Weird Al.
Weird Al's there just doing a parody of it at the same exact time. Right
Yeah, it's a
next to it.
duet, but he's
Just
not at all
pretending
singing
to
the
be
same song.
Mariah Carey the whole time. Also, Craig said, if you all are going to slander Weird Al, I'm leaving. He's lynching. There is no Weird Al slander going
no
on for me.
slander.
I freaking love Weird Al.
The man.
But if you were expecting Mariah Carey and Weird Al walked out, you'd be like, huh, that's not Mariah Carey.
Yeah,
that's
I did not.
Weird Al.
Why did I spend $500 to come see Weird Al?
Not gonna lie though, I would actually be pumped.
I would too.
If I had to pick between the two, I would rather see Weird Al.
Not 6 octave Mariah Carey.
Not
Weird Al's got
six.
9 octaves. So.
I bet yeah.
He does. You're right.
You'd be surprised.
Displayed them all in Amish Paradise. He went all over the place in that song.
That
Guys, I
song's
think
an
we get-
actual banger, dude.
It's a great
Banger.
song. I think it's time we get on to our next hypothetically prompt. You guys ready for round 2?
Yep.
Let's hit this one. You're a star for your favorite team. You're beloved by your fans and ownership. It's your rookie year and it's week 12. So far, all you've done is the traditional spike as a touchdown celebration. But now you want to brand your TD victory lap. What is your new touchdown celebration? Your branded touchdown. Jalen Waddle's got the waddle. Jefferson has got the gritty. What are you guys doing? What's your special signature touchdown celebration? You're breaking it out in week 12.
It's pretty easy for me since in this situation, I'm an NFL caliber athlete. So I'm gonna go and say that I'm one of those like Tyreek Hill, Tariq Cohen type freak athletes, right? So my signature celebration, and I'll tell you right now, flags are gonna be coming down from the heavens. But I'm swinging up onto the field goal post, and I'm going full Simone Biles, just like doing all like the like the swirls and the
360
flips, dude,
rotation.
yeah, up on top. Then I do like a backflip off of the thing, which is actually illegal even in the Olympics, but who cares because it's already illegal in the NFL too. So I'm just going full on Olympic swirl. Maybe I even get up on one of the poles, do a little like stripper move too. You know what I mean? But like every time everybody's wondering what type of pole performance is going to happen here. You know, cartwheels on the pole, do crazy stuff. Yeah, probably get injured doing that. You know, so yeah, I'm dropping it. I'm going full Olympics on this one.
I'll tell you what I would do. Unless Simon, you want to respond to Coop first before I go?
No, so Coop, I guess my only concern: are you on the Patriots in this situation? You think? Because Bill Belichick's letting you do that once before he benches your ass.
Yeah, not even, dude. No, can't be on the Patriots. You got to be on a more fun team. I'm playing for Pete Carroll. Right? Every time I finish, he's up there, right?
Spinning.
Every time I finish, I get down. He's just chewing gum like crazy. He slaps me on the butt.
Gives you his giant wad of gum. You put it in your mouth.
Yeah. We both chew gum like Lady and the Tramp style till we get in the middle. That's also part of the celebration.
Coop, if you would have just said pats me on the butt, no, I would have known exactly who you were talking about.
What coach is this?
Best Pete Carroll person. Like I was like,
right?
Got it. Yep, same page.
Yeah, I could have. Yeah, you get it right away, dude.
And so this
which coach? Which coach?
More of like it's like a group of moves. It's like your signature is getting on the goalpost, and you've got a plethora of moves that you can whip out up there.
Number of different moves. The first one I would do the Olympic Simone Biles. You know what I mean? Like dust my hands off, and then I'm like doing the one-handed twirly thing, and you know all that stuff. But you know you got to mix it up. You got to keep the people guessing.
Tommy asking, can I have a prop? If you can, I mean, Michael Thomas figured out how to have a prop. Know what I mean? If you can figure out how to have a prop, you can have a prop.
You just get fine.
That's half the battle, dude. Yeah. What's your, real quick before jail goes, what's your favorite prop celebration of all time? I know what mine is. My favorite one was when Joe Horn pulled the cell phone out from inside, like he had it hidden in the padding. Yeah, there you go, Tommy, the phone. And then he called his mom. That was the number one prop celebration, in my opinion. Yeah, that's a good one.
Is that what Michael Thomas was like paying homage to whenever he did the cell phone one as well?
So.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah,
because I was going to bring up the Michael Thomas cell phone one. It's just fun whenever there's a phone involved.
Got to.
See, Adam in the chat said, "Morning, gents. Morning, Adam." He said, "Glad I drafted Jefferson with the 1-4." Yeah,
nailed it. Great first round pick.
Tommy said popcorn T.O. That's a good one. T.O. had a bunch of good ones. The time T.O. went over and grabbed the pom-poms from the cheerleader and was like, and then threw them up. That was fire too. Yeah. That's a good one. Good prop is nice.
John-Luke, you got a touchdown celebration in mind, your signature move. This is what, like, it's Jalen Waddle's waddle, but it's for JL.
Oh yeah, I got a signature move. I'm also taking the fine here because I need the prop. Pulling out a shovel. And I'm digging a hole in the end zone. And I'm getting in there and I'm burying myself in the end zone every time.
What do you do if it's turf?
I do it anyway. I dig up that turf. I'm gonna be like Al Capone in the Giants stadium. I'm be burying myself.
They come over and you're trying to dig through turf and it's just like it's getting dark out and they're like, let him finish.
Yeah. Please, he needs this.
Where are you hiding the shovel, JL?
I'm gonna hide the shovel
in your
inside
pants.
Of those giant, those giant coats that the players wear in the winter.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get one of the players to wear those giant coats and he's gonna have a shovel up tucked in there. And then he's gonna run to the sideline. And right as I run to the end zone, he's gonna toss it to me. I might catch it. Boom, shovel.
I just picture you sitting there, like trying to pull the dirt onto yourself, like this.
My teammates come in and join me. They start pushing the dirt in.
Not sure if you've tried to bury yourself, even at the beach, but there's a certain point where you need someone to help you.
Yeah,
someone has to come and finish the job.
Continue.
Jill, are you going all the way underground or kind of like on the beach where like there's like a lump,
my head's
like
sticking
there's
out.
Sand on top of you?
Yeah, there's a lump in my head sticking out.
So like
Did you just spend the rest of the game there?
No.
So like your team has to play with only 10 men because otherwise there'd be too many men on the field.
They replaced me. I got a backup.
You're offsides for half the game.
Yeah. Once the quarter changes,
I'll hop up and then I'll bury myself the next time I score.
Hop up.
Tommy said you have to stand at the edge and let your teammates sack you into the hole.
That's a good one too.
Just let them tackle you into the hole. And Craig said jail was close to a good one for Simon. Dig a hole with the shovel and poop in it.
There you go.
Yeah, I thought for sure you were going the bury the football route whenever you said dig a hole. And then you said, and I bury it. And I was like, well, this just got elevated. This went to another level.
Like I'm at the beach.
Do you so you do this every time you score a touchdown, you're burying
Every
yourself.
single time.
Every single time.
Or probably.
No, I like it.
So they
Jay.
throw all the flags first, and then they have to throw their hats later for the delayed game. Because
It's gonna take forever.
Yeah. I mean, somebody's probably gonna steal that one.
Yeah, watch out.
Probably.
Next, who's the most
Watch
likely
out.
person to steal that touchdown celebration?
Russell
George
Wilson.
Kittle. George Kittle.
George Kittle fully. That's a
For
big
Russell-
man to bury himself. I think we need to pick a smaller guy. Like it needs to be a smaller hole.
Unfortunately for Russell Wilson, you have to score touchdowns to do celebrations.
That's true. He's thinking about stealing it. He's
Yeah.
just not gonna actually get to do it.
Yeah. He actually has been planning to do that all year. He just hasn't scored a touchdown. I'm like,
Yeah, he's just waiting.
Oh, and then your nickname, Jail, John Luke Gravedigger.
Gravedigger.
The Gravedigger.
Does anybody immediately think of the monster truck, Gravedigger?
always and
Every single
only.
time.
Yeah.
We went to way too many of those growing up. My friends had weird tastes.
They never stop being cool.
There was one, not Monster Truck Rally, but it was in the same vein. Did you guys go to the Tony Hawk Boom Boom Huck Jam?
No.
No.
Where they
Gilbert.
had like so many, they had like dirt bikers and ATV riders and all this stuff in like Phillips Arena where like the Hawks play in Atlanta, and they just set up like dirt bike ramps and giant ramps and did crazy shit in there for like 2 hours, and then you went home and it was phenomenal. Jill, I did have one more question for you.
Shoot.
What's the end of the move? Like, do you awkwardly just get out of the hole and get back to play, or is there like an ending scene where you get out?
I burst out of it and I go from like laying down position up onto my feet. You know that move, like where you're down on your back and you just like, yeah. Up.
But
That's
you're
what I
doing
did.
that with dirt on top of it. So you're a strong boy.
Yeah, I mean I'm not putting like 5 feet of dirt on me. That would be that'd be pretty difficult. I'd be there for a long time. This is like at the beach style, or that that GIF where the guy's like burying himself. It's like that move.
Okay,
Craig,
gotcha.
Craig says that Gravedigger is taken. That was Gilbert Brown. Dude, do yourself a favor and Google Gilbert Brown. I just sent you guys a DM of a picture of him. Gilbert Brown is the pictures of Gilbert Brown. They never fail to cheer me up. The big boy, and he had like the neck roll, so he just looks like a sausage. This guy, Gilbert Brown, and is there a better fat boy name than Gilbert Brown? Like it's
I don't know. Simon Gruneveld's pretty good for a fat boy.
That's pretty good, dude.
Gilbert
Simon
Brown. That
Grunewald.
picture you just sent me,
Gilbert
Coop.
Brown.
That is a scary man. That
Hoss, bro. That dude is an absolute.
Greg said he
hoss.
met him in person, got his autograph. Great guy.
Oh,
He looks
that's
like it.
dope, dude.
Looks like a great dude.
looks
Yeah,
like a
yeah,
great
well-
dude. We had a question from Adam in here. Adam said, I have Rachaad White and Jeff Wilson at RB 1 and 2 this week. Y'all think they can break 20 points each? Full PPR. Adam, you're speaking my language, man. These are two of my favorite running back plays this week. Two guys I'm pumping up the confidence in. They've got two of the best matchups in the league. Jeff Wilson going up against the Houston Texans, and then Rachaad White going up against the Cleveland Browns. Those two teams are bottom 3 in the NFL against opposing running backs. The Cleveland Browns have been especially bad over the past couple weeks, and all the signs are pointing to go for Rachaad White. I'm feeling pretty good about White and Wilson. What about you, Coop?
Is Adam Weber your burner account, Simon? Because those are like
Those are the two guys.
Adam. Those are Simon's dudes this week. Like Simon,
They're also got the easiest matchups.
They do. That's why they're my dudes.
If you wanted confirmation bias, Adam, you came to the right place on those because we are wheels up on those.
Are you expecting them to have 20 points each, Simon?
I'm expecting
yes, Simon.
I've got him as top 12 running backs this week. So that's in that range, right? That's like in that
20 points is like for a running back is like top 5.
Depends on the week. Depends on the week. Some weeks have been up there. So there
Jamal Williams the other week scored 3 touchdowns. He wasn't top 5.
Right. So I think 20 points is in the range of outcomes. I'm expecting 15 floor, and then these guys can have 20, 30 point weeks this week if things break their way.
Yeah. So get Raheem Mostert in your lineups. Just random Raheem Mostert.
Start Raheem Mostert and Keyshawn Vaughn is what you should do, Adam. And then Adam also want to know, do y'all like Jimmy G or Derek Carr more this week and rest of season value?
Jimmy G. And for both.
Why is Jimmy G so good, dude? I was like, on my knee-jerk reaction on Monday was to be like, oh, he's not the real deal. But man, I saw a stat that he only has one game where he scored less than 16 points, 16 fantasy points. Jimmy G, and kind of that hotness right now, dude.
He's got CMC, he's got Debo, he's got Ayuk. Like, I think we got to stop disrespecting Jimmy G, especially for fantasy. I think he's going to be a value.
I'm sorry.
He's a top 12 QB this week, I would say.
Yeah, I mean, like, and one of the cheat codes for fantasy football is to have a guy like Christian McCaffrey and the way they're using him, because they're throwing him a ton of balls. If you look at Justin Herbert, when you have a guy like Austin Eckler, and same with Drew Brees, we would see with Drew Brees, we have a guy like Austin Eckler.
Ryan Tannehill, Derrick Henry.
Yeah, the short pass game is an extension of the run game, right? You get all those points. So Alvin Kamara's never had 1,000 yards rushing, but he has had like 1,000 yards receiving. Same with Austin Eckler. When you look at his stats and you look at his rushing yards and his receiving yards, the highest total he ever had in the season was receiving yardage. He had a year with almost 1,000 receiving yards. That you get all those points. Justin Herbert gets all those points. So Christian McCaffrey is better obviously he's better in general for the quarterback than Jeff Wilson, because he's getting 8 targets, right? Instead of those could be handoffs for other guys, but with McCaffrey, Kamara, you get all those points, dude. So it's wheels up for Jimmy G, man. Crazy to say.
You got to think like that trade for Christian McCaffrey is a bit of a forcing function here for Shanahan, because they gave up a lot to get Christian McCaffrey, so they're going to want to use him a lot, and that's where they use him is in that passing game. Plus, like Christian McCaffrey he joined this team mid-season, so his knowledge of the playbook and stuff is developing as he goes, right? He's learning, and I feel like we've already seen them give him a lot of pitch plays, a lot of screen passes. Like, they're using him in ways that are easy to just pick up and go. So I think I completely agree with you, Coop. I think all that means good stuff for Jimmy G.
Yeah.
Wheels up.
This is probably a stupid question. I just want to say Jimmy G's playing well, but this is definitely still Trey Lance's job when he comes back next year, right? Like, he's the young quarterback. This is Trey Lance's job. Or do you guys think there's a chance they try to keep rolling with Jimmy G?
I think it's still Trey Lance's job. I think they just try and trade Jimmy G at the end of the season. Again, I think that it might be a little easier if he's not hurt. If they make a really good run this year, I think that all that makes Jimmy Garoppolo way more enticing to other teams.
Yeah. Jimmy G needs to win the Super Bowl, honestly, because like last year they were what? They were like within one score of winning the NFC Championship game, and they still drafted a quarterback, with like the third, traded up and drafted a quarterback. So it's basically like, if he wins the Super Bowl, then you make that argument. But beyond that, I think you're right that they already made the decision a while ago.
Absolutely. I agree with you guys. So JL, I loved your celebration, the Gravedigger, and Coop. If that athletic ability exists to be able to do like a full Olympic level high bar routine on the goalpost, that is unbelievable. That strong stuff. You'll go down in history. You'll be in every highlight tape for the rest of NFL history if you can do that.
I see Calvin in here asking, did you guys make the SFB playoffs this year? No, I did not. My team this year, man, all of the bets I made just went the wrong direction, or most of the bets I made went the wrong direction, and my team just wasn't fantastic. Cam Akers, Allen Robinson, Drake London, Elijah Moore, Rondale Moore. It's like hit after hit, and it's hard to recover from that.
Yeah, I got crushed with injuries. Also, I loved the drafting live this year, but I kind of got smoked by that because I went to the live draft in Boston, and I brought my buddy with me, right? My buddy Meat Mansion, and I ended up getting put in the same league as my buddy, who picked 2 picks away from me, and he was using my rankings because I didn't think we would be in the same league. So I was like, I printed him out some rankings, you know what I mean? Also in my division was John Impemba, the goddamn co-host on my other podcast, and my editor at Fantasy Alarm, who also has all my rankings. He's in my league, right? Then there's Mike Fiella, who didn't have rankings. He just sat there with a beer and picked every player that I tweeted about. Yeah, the architect of chaos, the angel of death, Daddy's Home, FF, just every player I'd written an article about over the last 2 years, he reached for those guys. Like Evan Engram, my boy. If you go on that site that says like who drafted him the earliest, Mike Viola drafted him the earliest of any player in this 3,000 team format, right? And then you had Bob Gilchrist who was like running the events. He's just walking around the whole time. During the draft, he actually picked up my rankings out of my hand and then picked a player. So the cards were stacked against me this year in the Scott Fishbowl. But that being said, I'm 100% going to the live draft again next year because it was an absolute blast. And I encourage everyone to do that if you're in the league because nothing better than a live draft.
I did make the playoffs this year in Scott Fishbowl. So I made it through 2 years in a row now. Made it last year, made it this year. A couple of the bets I made, I feel like what you were saying, same thing, but I got the flip side with a couple of those players. Like Kenneth Walker, I drafted as my RB2. Like he was my second running back drafted in Scott Fishbowl. And my first running back drafted was Josh Jacobs, who was a little bit of a risk a little bit later. So I got some value on those guys. I started Herbert Hurts with my first 2 picks and then was able to figure out running back. DeAndre Hopkins I drafted later. He came back and has been killing it. So the team is shaping together. And then Greg Dulcich, Evan Ingram, Gerald Everett. I put together a decent little tight end core for waiting on tight end towards the end there as well. Some of the bets paid off.
Nice.
We'll see. I don't think it's a championship winning team, but made the playoffs.
You never know, man.
That's all you need.
That's all you
never know.
I like
the weight on tight end move. That's how Gary Haddow won. Gary Haddow is he's lightning rounds, does a show with us sometimes on Wednesdays. He won because he drafted all the other positions. Then, like you, he waited and just took a bunch of tight ends. He took 4 in a row at like the very end of the draft. One of those tight ends just so happened to be a guy named Darren Waller in his breakout season.
That'll work.
So
that'll work.
So so his team he hit on everything up to that point, and then he was like, whatever, I'll take 4 tight ends. 3 of them were trash. One of them was like the tight end 2.
Perfect. Guys, coming up, we are going to play some poll perception, and then we've got our Week 12 prop bet draft. And as always, I see your questions in the chat. We're going to get to those very shortly, and keep throwing your questions in here. We would love to answer anything and everything you could ask us this Friday morning. You're listening to the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Better Sports Network.
Front Yard Fantasy, weekday mornings at 7 Eastern on Better Sports Network.
There was a tweet about the refs that had me kind of cracking up the other day because somebody was like, we have the technology to track the ball down to a centimeter and figure out, what speed these guys are running on the field. Yet somehow we still mark the ball by
That's my favorite.
a 60-year-old dude eyeballing it, and then we run over with literal chains and measure it. It's like, you think we can probably get that figured out.
The least precise way to measure something, and then immediately following that up with a super precise way of measuring something.
Yeah, it's like we have
Like if you're a millimeter short of that chain that they bring out there, that they ran out it as best they could in a straight line. But if you first they just go here, and then they grab the chains and they run in the straightest line possible. But then if you are 1 millimeter short with that football, doesn't count. Sorry. Couldn't have been human error. You're just short.
That's exactly. And, they bring up the index card or whatever. Meanwhile, they have satellites in space tracking how fast Brandon Ayuk ran on an end around. But we can't,
and I can see that number live while he's doing it. Like I can see every player's speed on the screen live.
I love that. It's and not to mention that dude's trying to make the spot and the player always tosses the ball right into his face. Right? He's coming over to spot it, and it's every other time the player just here you go. Here's another thing to juggle.
On call with Dr. Roto.
If the Giants don't win another game this year, A, I'll be shocked. But B, I'll still think that they're better than they were with Joe Judge. Much better. Because I think Brian Dable's got a lot out of this team already. And I'm seeing what this team could be. See, that's the problem with owners and general managers. I see Nathaniel Hackett and I see a guy who can't get it done. I see Matt Rule and see a guy who never should have been hired. Disaster right away. Sometimes a good coordinator in the NFL is better. I don't even say sometimes. Most of the time, a good coordinator in the NFL is better than a college coach because the NFL coordinators, they know the system. They've been there. They've played. They've been around it. For the life of me, I don't know why Eric Bieniemy hasn't gotten a job yet. Deuce Staley's going to get a job. Somebody's going to hire that dude. When you've been around the game, You understand it. These college guys come, they don't know it.
Join the show with one touch of a button. It's Sports Talk 3.0 on Better Sports Network.
What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Better Sports Network. Coop, I just want to say I respect the 3 Patriots jerseys in a row. 3 days, back to back to back. That's a power move as a Patriots fan. And right around Thanksgiving, the football holiday, I feel like we just kind of glossed over that before, but it takes
5.
commitment to go a couple days in a row. You got 2 more that you can whip out?
Bro, I have like 10, dog. I have Brady, Coates, Gronk, Ty Law, Wes Welker.
You could go for a
Julian Edelman. I have a bunch of weird ones like Gerard Mayo and like all these ones. I could rock them. I could rock them for days, dude. I'm pretty sure they're all different too. Like you should see the Ty Law one. It is a horrible jersey. The Elvis heads on that one are like this big. Like yeah.
What do you call them? Elvis heads?
Yeah, the Flying Elvis.
Oh, I didn't know that's what it's called.
It's not. It's kind of like an unofficial nickname, I think, because it looks like a flying Elvis, even though it's not. It's not supposed to be that. It's supposed to be like a tricorn hat. It really is kind of a bad logo. And the crazy thing is, they have an amazing logo, which is Pat Patriot, right? Like the other guy, the guy that's like the center. Like that's an amazing logo. And then they have this thing that's like no one quite knows what it is, but it's provocative.
Guys, joining us right now, we've got our friend Vinnie Iyer coming on the show. Vinnie is an NFL and fantasy football writer over at Sporting News and a host of Locked On Sports. Vinnie, thank you so much for joining us today, this Friday.
Hey, how's it going, guys? Hope you had a good Thanksgiving.
Same to you, man. Friend. Did you have a good Thanksgiving?
Better now that you're here, Vinnie.
Yeah, pretty good. I don't know if I looked at my fantasy teams a little bit, but I kind of don't do that as much. I think I only had one player. I think I had Gabe Davis. That was it. He didn't do that well.
In great detail, each of the helpings from your Thanksgiving meal. Like, what was this ratio looking like?
Full play-by-play.
What do we have? We had a roast turkey, which was pretty good. Some homemade cranberry sauce.
Nice. On the homemade side of the debate?
Just the plain old mashed potatoes.
Nice.
Some broccoli casserole, which was really good.
I haven't talked about that one. That's a good one.
And some kale and bacon. That was good together.
There we
go.
That is a good combo. Cook the kale in the bacon grease, and it's perfect.
Now, are you a gravy guy, Vinny? Because Simon is pretty anti-gravy. Me and JL are on the gravy.
I could go either way, but I just didn't have it yesterday. So
didn't have it.
My man. We had a pretty raucous debate on our favorite Thanksgiving side yesterday. Stuffing ended up coming out on top, right, as the winner of the debate. I was not on the stuffing side. What is your number one Thanksgiving side?
I think mashed potatoes are good. I'll take them anyway. Like if you want to put gravy on them, that's fine. If you mix them with garlic, that's cool. Like I like garlic mashed potatoes.
Butter and cheese. Yeah, you can do it so many ways.
Yeah,
you can't miss. I think they came in second, so I mean you can't miss with mashed potatoes.
Can't. I think stuffing only won as a homage to my grandpa.
If stuffing didn't win, Tommy would have probably come to our houses and beat us up, dude. Get in the game. Tommy was pushing the stuffing wagon hard there. So we kind of had to appease the chat on that one.
Absolutely. Well, guys, yesterday we had a full day of football, and today we brought Vinny on here to play a game we call Poll Perception. It is the game that tests your understanding of the public's knowledge or the public's perception on the NFL, on fantasy football players, and maybe on some other topics. We've got a couple polls in here that I wanted to run through. Before we get into that, though, guys, if you are not already following our friend Vinny on Twitter, make sure you go and check him out on Twitter. It's at Vinnie Iyer. That is Vinnie, and then Iyer. And you can find a link to all of his articles and his work over at Sporting News right there in his Twitter bio. So make sure to check that out. I'm going to explain how this game works, and then we are going to roll into it. So for this game, myself and Keith, we found some polls online ahead of time, some polls that people answered. I'm going to propose a poll to one of our contestants. So, Vinny, I may ask you a poll. Would you rather have DeAndre Hopkins or Saquon Barkley? And your job is to tell me the percentage of people that chose the first option in that poll, side A. After you do that, your two opponents will guess whether they think the actual answer is over or under the line that you have set. The closer you are, the more points you're going to get. A max of 10 if you're exactly right. You'll get 1 point. If you're within 15, it scales up within there. And then Jalen and Coop, you guys will get 2 points if you correctly pick the over-under. We will alternate who's answering the poll. You guys will each go once, and then we've got a final poll where everybody's guessing a number. Whoever's the closest on that one's going to get 5 points, and the person with the most points is our poll perception champion. You guys ready?
Oh, yep.
Yeah.
Sound good, Vinny?
Yep, let's do it.
Vinny, since you're the guest here today, would you rather go first, second, or third in today's game of poll perception?
I'll go first. Why not?
Vinny going first on this one. So, Vinny, here is your first poll. This one comes to you from Mint Sports, Eric Mintzer, which, for full context, the bio says the #1 New York sports account and has the hashtag #TakeFlight inside the bio. So it is a Jets fan account. The question was, pick one quarterback. Side A, Davis Mills. Side B, Zach Wilson. What percentage of people answering this poll said Davis Mills?
37%.
37% from Vinny on that one. Coop, do you think the actual percentage of people that chose Davis Mills in this poll is over or under Vinny's guess of 37%?
Yeah, and for those at home that might not know, Vinny is a Jeopardy contestant, Jeopardy winner. So here's what we did. He always kicks our ass in games that involve facts. So we decided to play a game that involves Twitter nonsense, so that he can't just kick our asses with his knowledge. So there we go. Randomness here. I think so. The second quarter, it was Davis Mills, and what was the second one again?
Zach Wilson.
Yeah. So I think that the number for that would pick Davis Mills is going to be over, just because Twitter is so reactionary. Like, they change drop of a hat, dude. If you had asked this question before Zach Wilson said no the other day, it probably would be 37%. 37% is probably right. But because of Zach Wilson doing that the other day, the number is probably like 70, because Twitter is just an insane place. So I'm going to go ahead and say over on this one.
Coop taking the over on this one. JL, the poll was pick one quarterback, Davis Mills or Zach Wilson, and it came from an account with Take Flight in the bio. So given the full context there, and the #1 New York sports account is also what it says in the bio. But the options were Davis Mills and Zach Wilson. Vinny said 37%. Coop took the over. JL, do you think the actual percentage of people that took Davis Mills in this poll is over or under 37%?
I'm gonna follow Coop here. I'm gonna take the over. I think this the Zach Wilson, the latest one, Zach Wilson's definitely gotta leave a bad taste in New York Jets fans' minds.
There we go. We got 37%. We got the double overs. And everyone in the chat, if you want to play along with us, throw your guesses in the chat. We'll shout you out if you are very right.
Love it when you play along.
Well, guys, the actual percentage of people that chose Davis Mills in this poll was 58%.
Nice.
58% on the Davis Mills side. I think it's some reactionary Jets fans.
Jets fans are the worst, bro.
They are. That is so classic Jets fans.
These are some Jets fans that have not seen Davis Mills play, apparently.
Vinny, I wanted to ask you about Zach Wilson. So he got benched. Do you think he is going to come back to being the starter? Like, from what you've seen from him, do you think he has what it takes to be a starter in the NFL, and this is just a bump in his journey, or is this dude not going to cut it?
Well, I don't know. I think the biggest thing that was missing there was, I don't know what happened to Elijah Moore, whatever he did with the coaching staff. Like, he needs to be a bigger factor. Then Corey Davis wasn't playing. And you look at Zach Wilson, he really trusts Corey Davis as a veteran receiver. So did those two things factor in? Did not having Breece Hall, did this offensive line crumbling factor in? Did their play calling kind of hold him back? Yeah, I don't know. Like, it's a combination of a lot of things, but when Zach Wilson's out there, I don't see a guy that's pretty confident. Where I already see that in Kenny Pickett when I'm watching the Steelers, that this guy knows what he's doing. He feels comfortable in the offense. He's making some mistakes, but he knows what he's doing. He's in command when he's out there. Where I see Zach Wilson just kind of running around trying to figure out what he's doing. And that's what I want to see from young quarterback is, do they feel like they control everything what's going on? And I think you feel that from now what you get with really, even if you look at Justin Fields, I mean, he's pretty confident at this point. And you look at Trevor Lawrence and Kenny Pickett. These guys just seem more comfortable right now as young quarterbacks. And that's my concern with Zach Wilson going forward is those are some things you can't teach.
Yeah.
Running around is a good way to put it, right? Because like Justin Fields and Kyler Murray run around, but when you're Kyler Murray, you can do that, right? Because you're just faster than everybody else. But you're right. He really does. He takes 2 seconds and then he's like, all right, it's not working. And he turns around and faces the other direction and starts running all over the place. Like Zach Wilson, you can't be doing that unless you are Justin Fields. So I think he does need to figure it out. And you're right about the offensive line. They lost Mekhi Becton. They lost Elijah Vera Tucker for the season. This Jets team, probably not as good as their record would suggest.
Probably not.
I think they can. I see all that as they have only room to go up because I do feel like they're playing on a hurt ankle right now. They don't have all their pieces. Zach Wilson is not quite there yet. Elijah Moore, like Vinnie said, is just holding out. I think the Jets next year are going to be a little bit different than what we've seen this year. But probably this year, you're probably right.
And they were already different this year than they were the previous years, right? Like even if they're not what we thought they were at the beginning of the season, this is still a much better Jets team than they were last year. We had a guess in the chat from Tyson that I wanted to shout out. He guessed 62%, which was very close to the answer of 58%. Nice job, my man. We also had a question in here in the chat before we move on to our next poll. Adam wanted to know, is Isaiah McKenzie stash worthy? So is Isaiah McKenzie worthy of a stash? Vinny, do you think he could be fantasy relevant, or are you not interested in Isaiah McKenzie?
I don't know what happened to Isaiah McKenzie like the past month, but then he resurfaces again. I'm not quite sure. Who do they like more? Do they like Dawson Knox? Do they like Isaiah McKenzie? It seems like week to week. I mean, that was just a bummer because I was sitting there with Gabe Davis and people that had Stephon Diggs and Dawson Knox. I mean, I know Diggs got the touchdown, but it was hard to watch. What is Isaiah McKenzie doing involved in the offense again all of a sudden? So he could disappear. He could go back to doing nothing next week, and it would not surprise me.
Yeah, I tend to agree with you. Coop, Dale, either of you guys have more optimism for McKenzie, or are you on the same page?
Yeah, I'm sorry, go ahead, Joe.
No, you.
Okay. The problem for Isaiah McKenzie is that you can only have so many guys that play every snap on the team, right? So when you have Stephon Diggs and Gabe Davis, they're going to play every single snap. When you mix in the second tight ends, when you mix in fullback Reggie Gilliam, like you're not going to be able to have the third wide receiver play the entire game. So with McKenzie, he's never going to play more than 60 to 70% of the snaps. So you have to know that his ceiling is capped. Like even if Reggie Gilliam just plays 10% of the snaps and, they have Quinton Morris or some other clunky tight end playing 15% of the snaps, well, right there, that's 25% of the snaps that the third wide receiver is coming out of the game because Gabe Davis isn't coming out, Knox isn't coming out, Diggs isn't coming out. So for me, I really don't love those guys unless the team is fully committed to having the same 11 guys on the field every play the way the Rams do or the Bengals do. And this team just doesn't do that. So I don't like Isaiah McKenzie, to be honest.
Yeah, Isaiah McKenzie's got 11.3% target share on the season. I feel like we see that like around that 10% range for whenever there's like a good offense and these players who are like sometimes utilized. But unless they're breaking like close to that 15% plus, I'm not really that hyped on them as like they're going to consistently get opportunities. And it's not just a fluke.
Right.
Yeah, checks out. We had another question from Tyson in here. Tyson said, made a massive trade at the deadline, got CMC for Cook and Patterson. So got CMC, traded away Dalvin Cook and Patterson. I like it. He said, my lineup is now Justin Herbert, Christian McCaffrey, Saquon Barkley, Jamar Chase, Jalen Waddle, Devontae Adams, and Greg Dulcich. One spot out of the playoffs. Can this team win it all? That team can absolutely win it all. And there's a luck element to fantasy, but that team is killer, my man.
How is that team not in a playoff spot? Like that team is
because fantasy football sucks. That's why. Because sometimes you can look at your team and be like, oh, stud.
Yeah.
And then you look at the record and it's like 4-7. Like where did that come from?
At first I was going to say, I don't love that trade, but Cordell Patterson's never going to crack your lineup with that team. So you might as well do that, right?
Yeah. Vinny, you like this team? You think that team's got a shot?
Yeah, they have a shot. I must be playing in a 2-team league or something.
That's what I'm saying. Like, what's the Vinny's like, yeah, what does the other team look like? Yeah.
Guys, Vinny, unfortunately, no points for that first guess on your first poll. Coop and JL each have 2 points, but it is still anybody's game. Coop, are you ready for your first poll? Let's hit it. Coop, your first poll is, this comes from NFL Fantasy. What would you rather have? Side A, Turkey, or side B, Nick Folk? What percentage of people said side A, Turkey?
So this poll had to be asked before the game last night. Last night, he played well, but he was kind of a turkey against the Jets. It was very windy, but he did miss 2 kicks. I think Nick Folk kind of a good guy, though. Likeable player. I think most people going to have to go and take the turkey side. So, but I would have clicked Nick Folk. I think I'll say 63% of people are gonna take turkey. A lot of people just don't like turkey. That's also, you got to factor that in. That people are just like turkey.
The JLs of the world.
The JLs of the world are picking Nick Folk, dude. So, but I think most people are like, give me the food over, the kicker. So 63 is where we're going.
63%. John Luke, do you think the actual percentage of people that took turkey over Nick Folk is over or under 63%?
I gotta take the over here. I think it's gotta be way higher.
JL taking the over. Vinny, what about you? Do you agree with JL or are you taking the under on Coop's guess of 63%?
First of all, I'm trying to imagine like Nick Folk, like in Kramer, like Kramer, is he on the head of the turkey? And are we trying to eat him?
I have questions about the scenario.
He weighs the platter.
Is it like NFL.com? Like, are you trying to ask backdoor? Are you a cannibal? Like,
FBI sting?
Cannibal or
Nick Folk's kind of a snack, though.
Okay. Kind of a snack.
Well, so what was the number in favor of turkey again? Sorry,
63.
63. I'm gonna also take the over on the turkey because why would you want to eat Nick Folk?
Right.
Yeah. We've got the double over here on the 63%. We had some answers in the chat. Craig with 28% and Tyson going 1% saying Nick Folk, the GOAT.
Kind of is a GOAT, dude.
Kind of is a GOAT. We'll see. Well, the actual percentage of people that said they would prefer turkey over Nick Folk was 50%. Right down the middle. It was perfectly spit. So, Coop, you are going to get 1 point.
1 point
for being within 15, bringing you up to 3 points. The score is 3-2-0 right now.
I'll take it. I'll take it.
You'll take it. You'll take it. Before we get into that next poll, we had some more questions in here. First of all, IBT Media coming in saying happy Black Friday. Hope you all had a nice Thanksgiving. Welcome in, IBT.
Happy
What's
Leftovers Day. I'm
Can
assuming.
I say something real quick, dude?
No.
I think about this. Like we spend okay.
Go ahead.
We spend so much time like coming up with these polls and we're like, oh, I think this one's so close. I'm going to do a Twitter poll. Right. And it's always like, it's all over the place. And then you ask a stupid question like Nick Folk or a turkey. And Twitter is divided directly down the middle.
They're like, shit, we don't
exactly.
know. We've been working on it, but we don't know.
That's the one good question that gets asked where people are like, well, we're divided on this. Right. But any other question, it's like, Twitter is just a ridiculous place.
It is ridiculous. We had another question in here. This one coming from Freddie. Freddie wanted to know, what are Swift owners doing rest of season? Stashing in my league for now. So, Vinny, DeAndre Swift has been wildly disappointing, dealing with an injury. Jamal Williams killing it, but he got 8 targets in yesterday's game. What are you doing with DeAndre Swift?
I don't know. I'm keeping him on my team, but just benching him. I mean, even Jamal Williams, I'm going to say this, like he scores, but what else did he really do in the game yesterday? He loses a fumble. He just like kind of grinds out his yards. Like it's so boring to watch. Like it's great if he scores 2 touchdowns, but when he scores 1, I mean, it's not exciting because he doesn't really catch passes and he lost a fumble. So like, I don't know what you're getting from this Lions offense. I think it's one of the most, I don't know how they're putting up points, but it's been rather overrated here in the last several weeks. So I don't know. I mean, DeAndre Swift, you just hold on to him. I feel bad for those in Dynasty that have him. Like, what do you do? Like, do you feel like you want to throw him back? I don't know. It's disappointing. I mean, be more transparent about how healthy this guy really is and what his role really is. And they just have not treated him like we all thought they might at some point.
Yeah.
I think he's a firm hold for me. He's a firm hold. He's fighting through this injury, and this Lions offense are making it happen. So between Jamal Williams and DeAndre Swift, I think they're going to continue just like running the ball a decent amount, and those two guys are going to be factors. I think it will switch back once Swift is a little healthier, but we'll see.
I'm not convinced we see it this year, just because this team isn't competing at all. Know what I mean? Like, and if Swift is banged up at all, like they might just keep this split for the rest of the season because Jamal Williams is good enough, and they're not going to the playoffs anyway. So, like, right. I'm less concerned in Dynasty. But it's like, yeah, you just got to hold or sell at the lowest possible value that DeAndre Swift could have. So you're probably just sitting there going, I hope it's better next year. Like, I hope this is just the injury and that things are better next year. John Luke in the
chat said, Twitter is just a reflection of people, and people are ridiculous.
Truth. Sure. People are ridiculous, myself included. And I am part of Twitter too. John Luke, you ready for your first poll?
Yep.
Let's do this. JL, the poll I have for you is, in a 12-team Dynasty PPR Superflex League, which would you prefer to have on your roster? Rachaad White or a 2024 first-round rookie pick? So Rachaad White or a 2024 first-round rookie pick in a 12-team Dynasty PPR Superflex League. What percentage of people said they would prefer to have Rachaad White?
This is tough because I don't think Rachaad White – I think Rachaad White is a – this isn't the right term, like a victim of opportunity here. He's kind of like lucking into this role, and he's a talented player, but I don't know that he had really that much hype coming in, enough hype to hold water in Dynasty. But he's performing well right now, and all the hype and the news and the rumors are that he is slowly taking this job. We talked about at the top of the show how all the evidence is pointing in Rachaad White's direction, at least in the short term. Long term, I'm a little less confident. 2024 first is pretty far in the future. Oh boy, I'm gonna go with 42%, 41%.
41%. Final answer, JL.
Yeah,
41% from John Luke. Vinny, do you think the actual percentage of people that would prefer Rachaad White over a 2024 first round rookie pick is over or under JL's guess of 41%?
I'm going to go over because people are under recency bias, and you got to wait a little bit for the 2024 pick. And Rachaad White, look at it. I mean, Fournette's not going to be back. The Bucs offense could look different if Tom Brady's gone, but Rachaad White is probably going to be the centerpiece of what they do, and he's probably a starting running back with upside. So I'm going to say more than 41/42%. Either way, I'm going over.
Over for Vinny. What about you, Coop?
I think, dude, people can be irrational at times when it comes to picks. Like, the reality is that 50% of first-round NFL picks and first-round rookie picks hit, right? So the fact that he's already doing anything means that he probably should be worth a first-round pick. So I would take him over the pick. Then again, people love their picks. They love the shiny new rookies. So who knows with Twitter. But I agree with Vinny that I think it's recency bias. People like what's going on now, and I think they would take the over on that. So I think people would prefer the player to the pick. I would in my leagues.
You're taking the over as well, Coop?
Yep, absolutely.
We got the double over right here. So, guys, the percentage of people that said they would choose Rachaad White over a 2024 first was 35%.
Oh.
JL with the clutch guess right there, giving you 3 points for you're within 10. You were so close to being within 5. Going to give you 3 points, bringing you up to 5.
Wait.
Tying you with Coop.
Didn't I say 41% and it was 38?
Yeah, 35.
35. Okay.
35. So you're 6 percentage points away. So Jalen, Coop, you guys are actually going to tie in today's game of poll perception. Nice job, my friends.
Craig said 35%.
Oh, Craig said 35% in
Craig
the chat.
said 35%.
Exactly right in the chat.
Nailed it.
35.
That's also the percentage of touches Rachaad White is going to get. 35%.
Zing.
Are you in on Rachaad White, Vinny? Dynasty, do you are in on him being a starter multiple seasons?
It's just hard to say. There's just so much. He could be like Keyshawn Vaughn. We were thinking about Keyshawn Vaughn last year. Oh, he's the guy. Yeah. And then they could draft another running back. I don't know, like what you're going to get. And again, keep in mind that Bucs team without Tom Brady could be a bad offense coming up. So, I mean, at this rate, I think Brady comes back again. What else does he have to do at this point? But I don't know. I just running backs just can fade away so quickly, and yeah. I mean, I liked him. If it was a 2023 first round pick, I would just throw him back. But I know there's some other running backs that are going to come. Like Bijan Robinson is probably going to be a good fantasy player right away. So we'll just have to see. But you know, it's tough. I mean, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, I thought he was going to miss, and we saw what he's doing right now. So.
Yeah, these day two running backs, it's hard to invest too much in them in Dynasty, right? Like if they weren't drafted day one, I get a little bit nervous about their value being sticky. Like it's not irreplaceable all of a sudden. They haven't invested as much as some of these other people, as on some of these other high draft capital running backs. So I'm less willing to invest a first to get one of these guys than I am for some of these early round. Even though Dameon Pierce has been killing it this year, I'm way more likely to send a first for Kenneth Walker than I am for Dameon Pierce, right?
Yes.
They've both been phenomenal. And it's that draft capital. It's I got more trust that team's bought in to Kenneth Walker long-term than I do for Dameon Pierce. And it's Rachaad White somewhere living in between the two, right? Was drafted in between those guys, but he's on that scale as well for me. Vinnie, I want to thank you so much for coming on and playing this game with us, my man. It is always a pleasure hanging out with you on Fridays.
Yeah, it was 100% chance I lost this game. So.
He's back to facts next week. Back to facts.
Yeah, next week we'll do some. We'll do some trivia.
No, I did like it because it was a little bit of a throwback to Card Sharks. We've seen Card Sharks.
Yep, it is a lot like Card Sharks.
That was the game. That was pretty much the game.
Maybe next week we'll let Vinny smoke us in Family Feud.
Oh God,
Vinny would crush that one.
Run train of Family Feud.
We appreciate you, Vinny.
Yeah, thank you so much, Vinny. We appreciate it. Everyone, go to Vinny on Twitter. He's at Vinnie Iyer. That is VINNIEIYER. He's an NFL and fantasy football writer over at Sporting News, and you can find the link to that in his Twitter bio as well. Coming up, we are going to do our Week 12 prop bet draft. And if you've got any questions for us, make sure you throw them in the chat. We would be more than happy to answer them for you. You're listening to the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Better Sports Network.
Better Sports Live with Lisa Ann and Rick Kamla. Wednesdays at 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 Pacific.
Obviously, you've got a couple identities here, right? And so, Lisa Ann's here. Let's talk sports. Let's talk fantasy. What about my team? What do you think about my team? That's dope, man. Like that brand you have built here is huge. And over in Switzerland, you're a big deal in Switzerland. Of course you are.
In Europe, all over Europe. But when I was at the Jersey show 2 or 3 weekends ago, my security was shocked because every other guy legit handed me his phone and said, "Yo, Lise, can you check my lineup? Can you look on the waiver wire? I got bye weeks coming up." You're right. It's really neat how my worlds have become just this synergy between, me being me and then me reaching out to all of these different people and having this common ground that now it's we're kind of bros when we talk about sports, right? We're just friends. We're all sharing the same heartbreak or pain. Sports is the international language.
Lunch Money with Kyle and Ray. Weekdays at noon Eastern, presented by FantasyGuru.com.
Probably every team knows that inking starting pitchers to big deals and big money agreements is bad business. But that's the business they're in. What else are they going to do? That's what it costs to play the game. And all these pitchers realize it. I'd like to sit here and say, well, you should develop your own pitching. You should never pay these guys $25 million a year. But Ray, I don't think teams can do that. It's the pitchers have a lot of power despite their weaknesses and despite their fragility. They still have so much control over the purse strings of these teams and these GMs and these owners. They don't care, Ray. They're seeing the same numbers we are. They know Jake DeGrom, if they sign him, you pray for 130 innings. Every team knows that, Ray. They may say something different, but they know what's going on. And Ray, it won't stop them. I mean, what do you think DeGrom gets in free agency this year?
I think he'll get 4 or 5 years, and he'll get 35 a year each, right? Paying $20 million for Drew Smyly is stupid. Paying $200 million for DeGrom is idiotic, in my opinion. Jacob DeGrom has had 14 injuries the last 2 years. Like, every part of his body, it's just, and he's phenomenal. But you can't be locked in. If DeGrom makes 25 starts, 26 starts, if he throws 150 innings, you could win your division. You could win the World Series. I get it. But if he does the other thing, which is what he's done the last couple of years, your team is so hamstrung, unless you're one of like 2 or 3 teams, you can't spend your way out of that.
However you're invested in sports, from betting to fantasy, collectibles, and more, join our community on Better Sports Network.
What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Better Sports Network.
It's in the game.
We're about to get into our Week 12 prop bet draft. We've got that coming up for you. It's a game where we go through and we draft our favorite prop bets going into the weekend. We're going to talk through some of the ones that we like. Whoever hits on the most of these will be our winner. The other two are going to have to do an impression of the winning host's choice, but they take suggestions from the chat. They take suggestions. So if you guys have impressions that you want to see, throw them in there. Maybe the losers will have to do those this coming Monday. Before we get into that, Illmind Jedi was in here a little bit earlier. What's up, Illmind? Welcome in.
What's up, Jedi?
Said, did you all see Jacoby Myers got injured on the first pass and then come back and still play through it? Tough is what he said in there. Tough. Coop, you a fan of Mr. Jacoby Myers?
Love him, dude. He's just one of those guys that the Patriots seem to be able to find where on paper he shouldn't be that good. He's not that big. He's not that fast. But, you know, he runs killer routes and clearly has the right mindset. Toughness, man. There's no substitute for a guy that's willing to come out and do that. To come out and, you know, even if he gets banged up, comes right back in the game plays. Edelman used to do the same thing. Edelman definitely should have been removed from the Super Bowl with a concussion, but he was never going to let that happen. That's a mentality you want, right?
I feel like that's Billy B's kind of guy. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like that's the kind of guy that he likes to draft is the tough guys, the Jacoby Myers, the Julian Edelmans, the Jimmy Garoppolos, the Jacoby Brissetts. Sorry,
Brissetts, I said you keep the Jacobys, you move on from the Garoppolos.
Did you guys hear the broadcasters talking about Bill Belichick speaking about Ramondre Stevenson yesterday during the game?
No.
It's pretty interesting. They were talking about how they had a production meeting with Bill Belichick, and he was just like beaming about Ramondre Stevenson, just how he is the type of player who he was comparing him to, who was it? It was I can't remember. He was comparing him to like some great players and was just talking about how he is super versatile and consistent and like leveling up. It's pretty unusual for Bill Belichick to give that type of praise for somebody.
He usually only does that to bad players on the other team, right? Like before the game, he just talks up whoever they're playing. Like he talked for like 15 minutes about the Bears when the Bears time the Bears had lost like 5 games in a row. But yeah, very rarely does he have praise for his own players like that. So when he does, you gotta listen to that. So yeah. I'm in.
You're in. Guys, let's get into this prop bet draft. We can draft from any of the games taking place this Sunday. So any of Sunday's games we can pull props from. John Luke, do you want to go first, second, or third in this snake draft today?
I'll go first.
You'll go first? Coop, do you want to go second or third?
I'll go third. I'm feeling third today.
Then I am in a nice little sandwich. It's a Simon sandwich with some sexy bread with Jalen Coop on the other sides.
Simon
Sammy. What's the flavor profile on a Simon sandwich?
Poopy.
Hey, that's not nice.
It tastes like carrots that have been in your nose.
Nose carrots.
There's always a little bit of mustache hair in there.
And then lots of salt, probably.
Just the right amount.
Oh yeah, just an overwhelming amount of salt.
Tommy said spam. Maybe some spam. It's gotta be like fried spam. Spam is only good whenever the one time it was good was at a Hawaiian restaurant was when I had spam and I didn't even know it was coming on my food. And I was like, I guess I'll try it. And it was delicious. Craig said the flavor would be nutty. Maybe depends on the cut of Simon that they use on whether or not that's going to be a nutty flavor.
All right. So I'm going first in this one.
Yeah, you got it first, JL.
I got it first. All right. I'm going to take the over on Patrick Mahomes, 2.5 passing touchdowns in this game against the Los Angeles Rams. I think it's the Rams, right?
Yes.
Yeah, it's the Rams. 2.5 touchdowns. That is a lot, but the Rams team does not look fantastic. Chiefs are 8-2. They are playing out of their minds right now. I think he'll pass more than 2.5 times. So give me the over.
Man, 2.5 pass touchdowns is a tough line for any quarterback to hit. But if you're going to make that bet on anyone, it's Patrick Mahomes, right? I feel way more comfortable with the over than the under on that, even though it's 2.5. Like he has to throw 3 touchdowns for that to happen.
He can do it though.
Are they all going to Kelsey again? Are we getting another big Kelsey game?
I think we could see a big Kelsey game, but the other thing to consider here too with the Rams is like their defensive line unit is good, so they may not be able to actually get the run game going. No Clyde Edwards-Helaire. What are they going to do? They give Jerick McKinnon right into Aaron Donald. No, you're going to be passing it.
Yeah, you're probably going to be passing that. Jail, I like that one a lot. And Tommy in the chat liking it too said he will throw 3 to Kelsey alone is what Tommy's saying down there. So, I mean, that wouldn't be absurd. The fact that you can say that a 3 touchdown game for one of the receivers is possible means that that's probably a pretty good bet on the other side. I'm stalling. I'm just trying to continue propping up your bet, Jail, as I panic on which one I want to take right here. Oh, man. Which bet do I want to take? I think I'm looking at this Broncos-Panthers game because it looks nasty. And I know usually I am an over kind of guy, but it looks so gross that I just want to take something from this game on the underside there. That sounded gross. Maybe I should watch my phrasing.
Something from the underside.
Just take it on the underside. There you go, dude.
Here's where I'm going to go. This Broncos defense is legit, and I think they're going to shut down the Panthers. And whenever they were getting shut down, Deonta Foreman is not a guy that can beat a bad matchup. We've seen it a couple times now. When the matchup is tough, Deonta Foreman gets shut down. I'm seeing his line over on the MGM Sportsbook for rushing yards at 57.5 rushing yards. And I'm going to take the under on Deonta Foreman, 57.5 rushing yards is my first selection this week. I just don't have any trust that this Panthers offense can get anything going against that Denver Broncos defense. And Deonta Foreman isn't good enough to overcome it.
I like that one, Sam.
Deonta Foreman under 57.5 rushing yards. Sorry, Foreman. Are you guys comfortable starting Foreman this week? Like where is he in your rankings? In RB2 and RB3? Like what are you thinking for him?
Like back end RB2 range. I never feel comfortable starting him. The Panthers are just a bad team, and this is supposed to be a very low scoring game, right?
Over-under said like 36.5, I think, or something like that.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I don't really love him this week.
Yeah, I wouldn't even put him in the RB2 category. I'd probably put him RB3 or worse this week. I'm with you, Coop.
And Tommy in the chat saying, watch out for Sam Darnold. Okay, I'll watch out. I'll be careful. And Craig Ruth said, Ashawn Robinson on the D-line is out if that matters to JL. JL, does that matter to you?
I mean, yeah, it'll make it a little easier for them to run, but I don't think it'll matter too much.
I mean, that helps Patrick Mahomes, right? Ashawn Robinson isn't there for the Rams. It'll be a little bit easier for Patrick Mahomes during the day.
Yeah.
Helps out your pick a little bit. Coop, you're up. You got 2 picks now.
I got 2. Yeah, 2 picks back to back. So with my first pick, I'm actually going to play a little defense here. All right. You ready for this? I couldn't find any rushing yard props for Mr. Jeff Wilson, but I'm going to take I'm going to take Simon's favorite play this week. I don't know why you didn't immediately go to the Jeff Wilson versus the Texans.
I have it open right now as where I'm going next. Like literally, I was like, okay, they don't like him that much this week. I'll get Jeff on the way back.
You'll get Jeff on the way back.
I like him just as much as you do.
I like him just as much, and I'll definitely play a little defense here and take the Jeff Wilson anytime touchdown line. it's it's reasonable enough. It's not like it's like minus 200 where I'm picking something cheap, but the odds are pretty good that he's going to score a touchdown this week. So give me Jeff Wilson anytime touchdown, and that is because it's great because now I can't find any other props on Jeff Wilson. So now you can't pick Jeff Wilson. And
you son of a gun.
Well, you know what I'm doing.
No,
not.
You know
what I'm doing next.
Oh no, Rachaad White.
Scoop, you know what I just did is
Rachaad
I was like, okay,
White.
he's taking Jeff Wilson. Let me go open up the Rachaad White props and pull one of those that I really like.
Yeah. So I'm actually, I'm having trouble finding the Rachaad White props. Have you were able to find any? I've got
what I got over here.
Yeah, I'm having trouble finding any.
No,
I just want to make.
No, yeah, I'm not seeing too many Rachaad White props. I think an anytime touchdown score, they've got him listed there.
Yeah, he does. Minus 115.
That's all I'm seeing. Yeah,
I'm gonna take that. I'm gonna take that too, just to make sure that there's no props available for your two babies this week. I'm gonna take them both. Hey, we'll root for them together, Simon.
Going with Rachaad White anytime TD and a Jeff Wilson anytime TD. You just zapped some of the joy from this weekend away from you.
That's what good friends do. Right? So now
what good friends do.
Now, if your two biggest takes over the past week hit, you might have to do a stupid impression.
I hope they have unbelievable games and don't score a touchdown.
Don't score.
Yeah,
that would
like they like 140 yards and 6 catches, and they just don't score a touchdown.
If they thread that needle for you, I will happily do the impression on Monday.
Man, I cannot believe you just did that. Tommy in the chat said, well played, Coop.
What about us doing the show for months now that makes you not believe that? It's one of the most
I don't know why.
things.
The worst part is you did Jeff Wilson, and then there was a 0% chance in my mind that you were going Rachaad White next. Like I hadn't even considered that was the possibility coming up next. Man, that's just brutal.
Pretty mean. All right, you're up.
Oh, thanks, Coop. Thanks. I really appreciate that. That was really nice of you. What do I want to do here now? Both of my next picks are now gone. Both of the ones I'm going to pick next are now just not available to me. Man, this is rough. This is rough, Coop. This is not good. I'm not going to lie. I guess where I'm going to go here. You took both of the ones that I really, really wanted.
you are really.
I am and I'm like sitting here going like, now I want to just go negative. Now I just want to
I brought the negative energy. You're trying to see how you can spite me back, but I don't even.
No. Here's what we're gonna do. This Atlanta Falcons matchup is a great matchup for the wide receivers on the Commanders, and Taylor Heineke's been on a bit of a hot streak. I expect him to have a good game, but his best friend, a guy I brought up a little bit earlier, Terry McLaurin, has his receiving yards line set at 60.5. And I think Terry McLaurin is going to absolutely feast this weekend against the Atlanta Falcons. So I'm going to take Terry McLaurin over 60.5 receiving yards in this one. I like the matchup, and Taylor Heineke's been loving him some Terry McLaurin. So I love him to get over 60 receiving yards this week.
That's a good and safe bet. Taylor Heineke really does. He gets pretty dialed in on McLaurin.
He loves him. So that's what I'm rolling with. John Luke, you got one here?
All right. I'm going to go with the this one I'm going to go with this stuff. I'm going to take the Broncos to cover the 1.5 point spread. They're favored 1.5 points here in this game against the Panthers. I think the Broncos will be able to shut the Panthers down. Their defense is solid, and the offense is good enough that I think that they'll be able to start putting things together. And I'm now trying to decide between Marcus Mariota and Russell Wilson. Which of these two guys I want to go with? I think I'm going to go with Marcus Mariota. Marcus Mariota going against Washington. His pass yards line is set at 158.5. And I think I'm going to take the over on that one.
Take the over on that one. What was the name again, Joe?
Marcus Mariota.
Marcus Mariota over on his rushing yards.
On his passing yards, 158.5. You with us?
Are you kidding me, dude? Are you serious?
Okay, so
I make fun of you because I'm always the one that does that.
You had Jameis Winston under on rushing yards, if I'm correct, right?
Yes,
was what you had here?
Nailed it. Yep, that's it.
Marcus Mariota over 1.5 passing yards.
158.5 passing yards.
We said the same thing. I'm pretty sure, JL.
We did.
Right there. Had the same exact thing. So you're taking Marcus Mariota over 158.5. That's not a high line for him to pass, but he hasn't been great recently either. And this Commanders defense is all right. But you think he's gonna get it done through the air enough?
Yeah. I think he'll be able to. Oh man, I'm rethinking this now with Kyle Pitts out. I just remember that.
He's only, I mean, what? So subtract 11 receiving yards for the 11 that Kyle Pitts normally gets.
Yeah. Last time they played the Panthers, he got 253 passing yards. So the thing is the Panthers defense is.
Well, they're playing the Commanders, right?
That would make more sense. Atlanta, yeah. Jeez, why do I keep doing that with Atlanta and Panthers?
You keep mixing it up. That's
but
your
it's
favorite
just
mix-up.
those two teams that it happens.
It is just those two teams every time.
I don't know. What's happening there.
They're both suck.
Yeah. I guess that point's useless then.
He said, yeah, so ignore what I was saying right there. Tommy said the Atlanta Panthers and the Carolina
Falcons. Yeah.
There you go.
That's what they say in Carolina. In Atlanta, they say, "Go." They got a different sound.
That's a Panther.
That's a Panther. Yeah, Joe, give me your best Panther noise.
That's pretty good.
Pretty good. You know what? You didn't go too growly. Panthers are kind of screechy. I'm impressed. You've run into a couple Panthers in your day, I guess.
Thank you. I guess
I probably would have got too growly, I think.
Probably. Can I switch it? I've talked myself out of this prop.
You can switch it, JL.
Yeah, do it.
I hate this prop now.
I thought you wanted to switch your Panther sound.
No,
I realized I thought it was a little too scritchy on that.
Yeah, can I just try a different one now? Let me go again. I think I realized why I mix it up, at least in this instance, is because I was debating between Russell Wilson and Marcus Mariota. Russell Wilson is playing the Carolina Panthers.
He is.
Yeah, so I'm going to take he has a line here, 18.5 completions. I'm going to take the over on that for Russell Wilson. I think he has a bit of a bounce back week this week against that pretty easy Carolina Panthers defense, giving up the 9th most points to fantasy quarterbacks. I'll take the over.
Pretty hot. Russell Wilson over for JL on that one. Now it's my turn again. And I have to decide here. And I'm going to go a direction that is maybe not what I want to do, but I'm going to take an under here. And it's in the Tampa Bay Buccaneers Cleveland Browns game. The Cleveland Browns have not been getting it done on the ground recently. We saw last week their whole ground game kind of get shut down, and I'm expecting a little bit more of that against the Buccaneers today. And I'm expecting them to go down and have to throw the ball to try to beat the Bucs. So I'm going to take Nick Chubb under 74.5 rushing yards. I'm going to take the Nick Chubb under on his rushing yards, and the line is set at 74.5. It's a matchup thing and a game script thing. So that's where I'm rolling.
Yeah, 70. That's pretty high for an.
That's pretty high, right?
75. Yeah, I like that pick. So yeah, Tommy in the chat saying Evan Engram TD. I can't go there. It's the odds are too high. I mean, like if I'm going to bet that one, I'll bet it in real life because I think you can get like plus 300 or something like that. You know what I mean? It's not what I want to do here. I couldn't find a yardage total for Evan Engram, or I would do that. Now, yesterday I said bet the under on TJ Hawkinson 44.5 yards. He finished the game with 43. And honestly, if Kyle Duggar didn't fall down on that goal line play, he wouldn't have had a touchdown either. You know what I mean? Like should have been a play that's easy for Duggar to handle. He just tripped, you know? So matchups really do matter at the tight end position. So I'm going to go with one that I think a lot of people would be betting the over here, but the Saints have been kind of a no-fly zone for tight ends this year. They have been the number one defense versus the tight end. And even though they get one of the best tight ends in the league this week, I think it's going to be under for George Kittle. He's set at 45.5 yards. Again, he might score because, scoring is a little more random. It's easy enough to make one play, but I think that the 49ers have enough weapons now with McCaffrey and the two wide receivers and Elijah Mitchell that they don't need to force it to the tight end in one of the tougher matchups going against Demario Davis and Marcus May. Like they just have the right tools to slow the tight end down. So I'm going to go under on George Kittle versus the Saints this week as my final bet.
And that is 45.5 receiving yards, right?
Yep.
45.5 receiving yards, the under for Coop. Let's do a recap of what we've got here. Coop, we'll start with you. You've got Jeff Wilson, anytime touchdown. Rachaad White, anytime touchdown. You monster. And George Kittle under 45.5 receiving yards. I mean, great picks. I think
That brings me great joy.
Yeah, I bet. That's beautiful, Coop. And if that hits, I'm gonna be happy and sad at the same time. Like
I picked third so I could go back to back, and there's nothing you could do about it.
I could have taken one of them, but I didn't play defense well enough. JL, you went Russell Wilson over 18.5 completions. The Broncos minus 1.5 versus the Panthers, and Pat Mahomes over 2.5 passing touchdowns. How you feeling about yours?
There's not a doubt in my mind. I'm losing this week.
I don't know, man. Dude, that speaks to how boring this game is set to be, this Broncos-Panthers game. 18 receptions, 18 completions where the over-under is set. That's crazy talk to me, bro. Like, I like that bet. I like betting the over on Russell Wilson, but, man, that game is going to be real weird.
And then I had Nick Chubb under 74.5 rushing yards, Terry McLaurin over 60.5 receiving yards, and Deonta Foreman under 57.5 rushing yards. I must be feeling a little pessimistic this morning. I got a couple unders in there. Usually I'm hitting those overs.
I mean, mathematically, the unders do hit more often. It's the psychological thing where people just like to bet the over.
It's fun.
Jeff and you had a question for us, guys. Jeff said, do you guys think there's concern about Saquon? Coop, do you have any concern about Saquon Barkley?
Nah. He's awesome. He like we said yesterday, even yesterday, he played a ton. And there's no running back that gets a higher percentage of the snaps than Saquon. So, like, I don't know when you say concern, like, you're never going to bench him. So, like, I mean, what do you do? Just sit there and with him as your RB1 in your lineup and say, oh, I'm a little worried,
Right.
I guess you could trade him, but who do you trade him for?
Yeah, you just keep plugging in Saquon, keep playing him. The concern is the Giants, and the concern has always been the Giants. And right now that O-line's completely beat up. So you're hoping that they get healthy and then Saquon can kill it, but he can kill it with a bad O-line as well. Like we've seen Saquon Barkley do that. So I'm not concerned. Yeah, you might get some stinkers, but he's still Saquon freaking Barkley. Yeah, you're not concerned?
Not concerned at all.
No.
We've got Mac number 10 in here. I'm guessing someone who's letting Cooper JL use their studio in their home saying, who do I send the invoice to for the studio fee? D Coop. Coop.
Is that my dad?
I think so.
Mac?
Amy?
Yeah, might be, dude. Might be. He's got a picture of Mac number 10. Dude.
Patriots Cup.
If that is,
what up, Papa Coop?
Why don't you come downstairs and say what up to everybody, dude?
Why don't you come downstairs and say it to my face?
I got a chair right here for you, boss. Come down and say hi to everybody. Yeah. And I just want to mention producer Keith. He says the Broncos game perfect for the Keith Sweat special. I think that is the perfect game for the
might be
Keith
right
Sweat
about that
special
one.
there. Yeah.
Keith Sweat is when you take a terrible bet on that nothing's going to happen in the game.
Look what the cat dragged in.
What's up, boys? What up? Welcome in. How's it going?
Welcome to the show.
Welcome to the show.
If you'll notice,
nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
Let me point something out real quick. You gotta shut your phone off.
Oh. Look at you guys.
Amateurs.
Oh,
dude.
so handsome.
Hey, let me point something out. Notice the shirt he's wearing? Lenoir Ryan University shirt, which is the college where Kyle Duggar went to school. This is a deep cut Patriots fan right here. Wearing Lenoir Ryan.
Do you have that on
because the bus?
You saw the game.
Special
Man,
teams
I love that.
stuff.
Coming down here, that's a true Pats fan being like, and you're going to talk crap about Kyle Duggar on the show while I'm listening. Like, you serious, Coop?
Normally I get $2,000, but I'll take 1,000.
Fair deal.
We'll send it,
Fair
and then
deal.
we'll wash. He did blow his nose on your Brady jersey a second ago, but we'll wash that out for you. That'll be coming in the studio as well. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Yeah. My only grievance of the week is the Three Stooges that did that game last night. Those guys were awful. They had such homers for the Vikings.
They were. I mean, you got to be used to it as a Patriots fan, though, right? Like the announcers cheering for the other team. I feel like there's an anti-Patriots bias in the announcing.
Absolutely.
All right.
D Coop is out.
D Coop is out.
Attaboy, dude. Attaboy.
D Coop.
That's awesome. That is awesome. And Tommy in the chat saying, "What up, Coop Daddy?" Your dad shows up, Coop. I know your dad pulls because as soon as he showed up, you know who showed up in the YouTube chat? The sex. Your dad comes on the screen and the sex bots are like, we're here.
Hello.
You're ready to party, dude. Full hog,
Private
bro.
dating chat girls, Sex 69 fun. They showed up right away whenever he got in here.
You should have seen, he mentioned it too. You should have seen, it was me, him, and my uncle down here yesterday. You should have seen the unbridled homerism that was going on down here. Literally, like, we were down here, we're like, it's the Patriots against the Vikings and the refs and the announcers and
the world
and FIFA and Qatar. And it's like everybody's against us right now. It's us, it was us against the world down here in this, every little thing we were just like.
The man cave.
Dude, not only does he have that Lenore Ryan shirt, but he also has a UT Chat. On the day of my wedding, like when he showed up for like that morning, hanging out with us at the bar or whatever, he was wearing a UT Chattanooga shirt, which is the random college that Cole Strange went to, the Patriots' first round pick. I don't know why you do these.
I love it. So he just there's like these star players on the Patriots, and he's just like, yep, I'm gonna get their college.
He's like,
I'm gonna get their college memorabilia.
Lenore Ryan, dude. The only people I know that went to Lenore Ryan are Kyle Duggar and the comedian Tom Segura. I don't know anybody. I don't know anybody that's watched a Lenore Ryan football game. I never have.
Where is Lenore Ryan?
I don't know. My guess would be somewhere near jail.
It's in Lenore Ryan. It's in the city of Lenore Ryan is what I'm going to go with. That's welcome to Lenore Ryan.
Which is in the state of
Hickory, North Carolina. Is where
Hickory, North Carolina. Of
Not near
course,
me at all.
that's where it is.
Classic.
Wait, so your dad legitimately has that shirt just because of Kyle Duggar? Like no other connection to Lenore Ryan University?
He has that shirt, and so does his best friend.
That's
because
sick.
They drafted Kyle Duggar.
I love sports fans. Like that's the best.
They drafted Kyle Duggar in the second round, and everybody was like, "Who the hell is this guy? And what the hell is Lenore Ryan?" So now my dad's out here, and he's repping Lenore Ryan. And everyone's like, "He's like, oh, you don't know Lenore Ryan?"
Like, oh, does your son go there? He's like, nope.
Nope.
Let me tell you,
my favorite son, Kyle Duggar.
Well, I consider him a son.
Everyone's like, "What's Lenore Ryan?" He's like, "You must not be a big football guy. You're not a big. What's UT Chattanooga? Are you not a big sports guy? That's where Cole's coming from."
You never heard of the Mocs? You're not a big Mocs fan, the UTC Mocs. You don't care about those guys over there.
Yeah.
I used to have a UTC Mocs hat that was like in college. It was one of my favorite hats, but I was a bit of a mess in college, and my hats disappeared in downtown Clemson on a semi-regular basis. So that one got donated to one lucky person who found it in the streets of Clemson. But that was like my favorite hat. It was a khaki hat with a big yellow and blue C on it. Freaking loved that.
The khaki hat.
Yeah, it was a dad hat. That's about as dad as it gets. Is a khaki hat. Khaki.
What is the hat? What is the hat you're wearing now? Is it like hat? What is that? Finland
So I went to
America?
a wedding this weekend. Yeah, and the bride is from the United States. The groom is from Finland. So at the wedding, they gave out these hats to everyone at the reception. Were these Finland and U.S. hats? Nice flag recognition, Coop.
Kind of a dope hat, dude.
Right?
It's kind of sick.
I was sitting there and I was going, man, the worst part about this wedding is that I don't get to wear a hat because I'm self-conscious about my hair. And then I show up to the reception and they hand everyone a hat. And I was like, this is the best wedding ever. Like my one self-conscious bit is now covered up and we are good to go.
Beautiful, dude. Beautiful.
Guys, coming up, we are going to answer your questions, talk some more about the games this weekend, and hang out a little bit. If you guys want to hang out with us, head on over to the BSN app, hit that call-in button, come on up, give us your takes for this weekend, tell us about your Thanksgiving, or throw your questions in the chat, and we would be more than happy to answer each and every one of them. You're listening to the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Better Sports Network.
Front Yard Fantasy, weekday mornings at 7 Eastern on Better Sports Network.
There was a tweet about the refs that had me kind of cracking up the other day because somebody was like, we have the technology to track the ball down to a centimeter and figure out, what speed these guys are running on the field. Yet somehow we still mark the ball by
That's my favorite.
a 60-year-old dude eyeballing it. And then we run over with literal chains and measure it. It's like, you think we can probably get that figured out.
The least precise way to measure something, and then immediately following that up with a super precise way of measuring something.
Yeah, it's like we have satellite.
Like if you're a millimeter short of that chain that they bring out there, that they ran out it as best they could in a straight line. But if you first they just go here, and then they grab the chains and they run in the straightest line possible. But then if you are 1 millimeter short with that football, doesn't count. Sorry. Couldn't have been human error. You're just short.
That's exactly. And, they bring up the index card or whatever. Meanwhile, they have satellites in space tracking how fast Brandon Ayuk ran on an end around. But we can't,
and I can see that number live while he's doing it. Like I can see every player's speed on the screen live.
I love that. It's and not to mention that dude's trying to make the spot and the player always tosses the ball right into his face. Right? He's coming over to spot it, and it's every other time the player just here you go. Here's another thing to juggle.
On call with Dr. Roto.
If the Giants don't win another game this year, A, I'll be shocked. But B, I'll still think that they're better than they were with Joe Judge. Much better. Because I think Brian Dable's got a lot out of this team already. And I'm seeing what this team could be. See, that's the problem with owners and general managers. I see Nathaniel Hackett and I see a guy who can't get it done. I see Matt Rule and see a guy who never should have been hired. Disaster right away. Sometimes a good coordinator in the NFL is better. I don't even say sometimes. Most of the time, a good coordinator in the NFL is better than a college coach because the NFL coordinators, they know the system. They've been there. They've played. They've been around it. For the life of me, I don't know why Eric Bieniemy hasn't gotten a job yet. Deuce Staley is going to get a job. Somebody's going to hire that dude. When you've been around the game, you understand it. These college guys come, they don't know it.
Join the show with one touch of a button. It's Sports Talk 3.0 on Better Sports Network.
What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Better Sports Network. We got Calvin in the chat saying, anybody watching college football today? Hashtag hook 'em. Calvin, I not a UT fan, but I live in San Antonio, and I'll be spending the day in Austin with a bunch of UT fans today. So I know they'll probably be watching that game. I'll be seeing it going on. They play early, though. I think at 11 Central, right? Noon Eastern time is when the Horns are playing. So we'll probably see it. Hopefully they can take down Baylor, but I don't know, man. I don't know. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, that's going on with both the big games this week, because you have that one, Texas, big for you there, is at noon. Then the huge game is tomorrow at noon Eastern time too.
Always at noon. Always at noon, that Ohio State Michigan game, right? That's that's what they do. That one's
I'll be watching that game with my buddy who's a Michigan fan, and he lets the outcome of Michigan games determine his attitude for the entire week. So really got to be. One time we had my birthday party at a bar, and it was everyone was there hanging out. Michigan lost to Michigan State, and I was like, "Where's Brett?" Someone was like, "Gone." He's already within 20 minutes. He's like, "I'm at my house." He's just, dude. Hey, some people are in it like that, though.
If I want the Christmas time with my Ohio family to be nice, I need Ohio State to win this game, but they're so mean to me when Ohio State plays Clemson, just not pleasant, that it makes me not want to cheer for them. They are just God, there's not an ounce of humility in Ohio State fans, at least the ones I've met. It's either they're winning or it's rigged. Those are the only two options.
Yeah. Shout out Anand Ninduri, man. He's a big Ohio State fan. He's the same way, dude. If there's any connection to Ohio State, they're amazing. Justin Fields and Marvin Harrison Jr. is apparently the next coming of the Lord and Savior, according to Anand's Twitter. So
that being said, some of my best friends are Ohio State fans. I'm just playing around, but not with the meanness. They're serious about their football there. Tommy in the chat saying, Simon, I picture all clean cut like Harry Potter in college. I did have a shorter hairdo for a long time there. I was get my hair cut every other Thursday, military, fade on the sides, every single week for a long time. And then the pandemic hit, and I have not gotten a haircut since. Wow. Truly, I've just been letting my hair grow nonstop since then. I think I've gotten one since March of 2020. That's where we're going.
I did that during the pandemic too. I've got some pictures on my phone that could be used to blackmail me. That's I let my beard and my hair grow, and it was just I looked like a wolf person.
Guys, I made a trade right before the trade deadline in one of my dynasty leagues. It is my worst team. I only have 2 wins. It was a big move. I'm a little nervous about it. Like, it was one of those ones where you hit it and like afterwards you don't quite like, you don't feel good immediately, but you're like, it made sense. That's what I should do. Like, sometimes rebuild trades feel like that. Know what I mean? I've got 2 wins. I'm not competing. And so I wanted to make a trade to help my team going forward. Some people in the league chat were not thrilled with it, but I wanted to run this trade by you to see how you guys felt about it. See if I can find the official trade. This is what the final trade was. I sent away Joe Burrow. Okay, so Joe Burrow was the big piece here. Tony Pollard, Greg Dulcich, and Juju Smith-Schuster, and a 4th-round pick. A 4th-round pick. I got back Kyle Pitts, Javonte Williams, Trey Lance, and an expected top 2 first-round pick in the 2023 draft. So I will likely own 2 of the top 4 picks in my own and this guy's pick. Kyle Pitts, Javonte Williams, and Trey Lance. So I gave up quite a bit, but I got the all IR team. How do you guys feel about that move?
Is this Superflex?
This is Superflex.
I love it, dude. 4th-round picks are, they're kind of nothing picks, right? It's like we're talking 5% hit rate or so on those. Maybe 10 at best, right? So 4th-round picks are nothing to me. The one part of the trade, this is exactly what you're supposed to do in your situation because, you're even making your team worse, therefore making your own pick better.
Yeah.
The one surprising thing for me is you traded your baby, huh? You traded Greg Dulcich, man.
It was the final piece to get it done. It was it was the final piece to get it done. I did not want to throw Dulcich in there. I didn't want to do it at all, but I threw Dulcich in. It was going to be a pick swap 3rd for 2nd, but I said, make it that 1st. I'll throw in Dulcich. I'll throw you a 4th, and we got it done.
So, that's the thing about a trade. It's not a fair trade unless you feel a little pain, right? You got to feel a little pain on your side. But I actually love this trade. What do you think, JL? Are you doing stuff like this? That's pretty bold.
This is a bold trade. Simon and I were talking through it as he was thinking about it. I think what was your record, Simon, this league?
2 wins in this league.
2 wins. So you are absolutely out of it. You got a high pick next year, correct?
Yep, I will. Yep, I still have my 1st. So I'm right now currently in last place in this league, and the person whose pick I got 2nd to last place.
So I think going from giving up Burrow to go to Trey Lance is a huge risk. So I feel like you needed that first so that you can get. I mean, you're already likely to get one of those top QBs in this next year's class to fill in for Burrow, which makes it okay in my mind because then you can take on that Trey Lance risk without really risking or like going too far out on a ledge here and it just kind of falling out from under you if Trey Lance doesn't actually pan out. Giving up Joe Burrow is tough, but I like that move given your situation. Getting Kyle Pitts, like that guy's going to retain value like nobody in dynasty leagues. I promise you, his value, yes, it has gone down since he's got injured or since this season, but he's going to retain it for where he was drafted, what his talent is, what he does.
It's the only time to buy. This is like probably your last chance to buy low on Kyle Pitts.
Yeah.
Let me put this in perspective. Travis Kelce has been amazing for however many. It feels like forever years in a row.
Yeah.
Right. He didn't have a 1,000-yard receiving season until he was 27 years old. I mean, the year before that, he had like 900. So, I mean, like 26, 27 is when he really started to pop off. Delaney Walker didn't have a fantasy relevant season until he was 30 years old. Then he was a top 5 tight end 3 years in a row. Kyle Pitts is 22 years old, bro. And he already has a 1,000-yard receiving season on his resume. He's not, I mean, knock on wood, he's not going to play with terrible quarterbacks forever, right? And we've already seen him have a 1,000-yard season with a semi-washed Matt Ryan. Like, if they, like, just imagine if they hit on the next Justin Herbert or Patrick Mahomes or anybody. I mean, like, Justin Herbert came on and was awesome fairly quickly. That happens sometimes. They could draft the next quarterback that's amazing, and then you have Kyle Pitts and a young quarterback locked in for years and years. I mean, dude, Kyle Pitts is a guy that I'm trying to acquire anywhere. No one will trade him to me because I'm too loud on my own Twitter. Yeah, you know what I mean? But, like, if you can go out and get Kyle Pitts now at any sort of discount or even just pay the right price for it, which is like a first and change, then go and do it.
Yeah, this I was just looking yesterday at I was playing around with Dynasty Nerds as a cool tool called Dynasty GM. And it goes and maps the values and then gives strength, power rankings for each of the teams in the league. I'm number 1 in all 3 dynasty leagues. All 3 of my dynasty leagues, I have the strongest team according to their evaluation. And the reason that is because of moves like this. Take advantage of the people who are like, oh, I'm going to win now. I'm going to take the Tony Pollard, the Juju, and get guys like Kyle Pitts, because it's hard to project how long Kyle Pitts is going to be valuable for you.
Right.
Greg Dulcich is not Kyle Pitts, not even close. So
when I say 22, it's not even like one of those situations where he's 22 and he turns 23 next month. He just turned 22 last month in October. Right. Like, he's freshly 22. This guy is going to be playing for quite some time, and he's a good player. We've seen it. You just need someone to distribute the football.
You guys are making me feel a little better, but you understand the nerves though, right? Like, that was a big to send away Joe Burrow, and especially on a rebuilding team, that can be what you rebuild around. Like, you can rebuild around Joe Burrow, but I thought getting Trey Lance and then probably either CJ Stroud or Bryce Young with one of those early picks, and then I've got Dak Prescott as my 3rd quarterback on that team. Like, I'm feeling pretty good. Feeling
Juju
pretty good
and
about
Tony
that.
Pollard, like Juju specifically feels a little like his value is a bit flimsy. He's not like that could go any direction depending on circumstance, or he has a bad run of games, and I feel like his value gets tanked again. Tony Pollard, same type of thing. He's like what, 25, 26?
Juju signed for 1 year, $4 million. Yeah. So Pollard's pretty old. Yeah. Juju signed for 1 year, $4 million. DJ Chark got 1 year, $10 million. Juju signed a prove it deal, and then he's not proving it. It's not a good situation for Juju, to be honest. Because if he's not going to be good with Patrick Mahomes, what's going to change to make this guy good? Like, he's not locked in with the Chiefs. He's an unrestricted free agent this offseason.
And he's been good, but he hasn't been like, holy cow, good. Know what I mean? He hasn't been like, this team needs Juju Smith-Schuster. He's been fantasy relevant when healthy, but that's about like the peak of what he's been.
Yeah. I mean, if they signed him to like a 4-year deal, he would have way more value. But he might not be playing with Patrick Mahomes next year.
Yeah, I'm with you guys. That's what my thought was. And then Tony Pollard hurt to send away. He was my RB1 in this league. But what's that doing for a rebuilding team? Like, know what I mean? Tony Pollard is still stuck behind Zeke. And even then, I'm probably looking at 1 to 2 years. Like, it's probably a 2-year thing before this team's competitive. And Tony Pollard, like, if I can use him to get this deal done, potentially get 2 young stud quarterbacks, then I'm going to make it happen. Feeling better about it, guys. You made me feel a little bit better. Thank you. I was feeling a little nervous about that trade. It was one of those like, oh, trade deadline's coming. This is my chance. If I want to rebuild, let's get this done. And had to push it through.
I like what you did.
Got it done. Craig said 4th round picks matter in IDP leagues. Yeah, I imagine that's a much deeper player pool in IDP leagues. So that's going to matter a lot more. And then Tom's saying, when you go Burrow, you put yourself in a hole. JL, you might have to fight Joe Burrow for your touchdown celebration.
That's true. He's got the whole name advantage there.
Joe Burrow.
And he also has the advantage of being in the NFL.
That's also true.
Which it makes it way easier to do touchdown celebrations.
But does he have a shovel?
That's what I was going to say.
That's who's going to wear the trench coat for him. You know,
I don't know.
How many friends?
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Hey, JL, if we were in this scenario, I'd be on the sideline rocking that trench coat, hiding a shovel for you, buddy.
Oh man, I knew I could trust you.
I'd put the shovel for you, JL, and pull it out on the sideline. Like, if that was the only option, if it was summer, and so having a coat would
handle
look ridiculous.
Side first or spade side first?
Yeah, that's true. If you're at September, yeah, handle side or spade side.
Spade side first. Or no. I take it back immediately. I said the wrong thing. No. Oh, this is a mess.
Not again.
It's definitely handle side first, and you get one of the blades that it's got like a lock on it so that it can handle side first, then you tilt the blade up and then you can just sit on the blade.
Sit on the blade never sounds good.
JL, can you work with that kind of shovel?
I can.
You got gloves on, probably.
I think I can make it work. Yeah.
Dude, if I'm using that shovel, I'm definitely wearing gloves.
The gloves are not like for catching footballs. They're just gloves. Like, it's just like gloves. Just like workers gloves.
Yeah.
Brutal.
What are we talking about? Let's talk about some
Football.
of these good games. I feel like we've talked too much about like the Panthers Broncos. It's going to be a terror. Can we talk about like, let's look at this slate and talk about some of the good games, the fun games. Like how about what do we got on this slate here? There's some nice ones too.
Could be a fun game if Kyler Murray's back. Vegas is expecting it to be relatively high scoring, 48.5 point over. Chargers favored by 3 in this one. Do you guys think we see Kyler Murray back out on the field? What is the news saying for Kyler Murray this week?
The latest we said, he's saying that he expects to be back. He's saying that he feels good and that he is expecting to play this week. Of course, coming from a player, you got to take that with a little bit of a grain of salt. But it's better than him saying, no, I don't know.
Yeah, I think we're going to see
pulling the Keenan Allen of I hope.
Right. Yeah.
The injury he has is a hamstring, so we're probably not going to see him scooting around as much as normal. Obviously, he does play, so
he does scoot.
He does, right? It's like
yeah.
You know what game I think is kind of interesting for fantasy and should be pretty fun is this Raiders Seahawks game. I think that one is one where you have offenses that can move the ball, defenses that aren't that great, and that's kind of the formula for fun fantasy football games, right? So I think that should be a pretty decent one. Devontae Adams has been good. I don't think they have anybody that can really stop him. And then you got Lockett, Metcalf, Geno on the other side, Kenneth Walker. That'll be a fun one. I think the over-under for that one's probably got to be close to like 50 or so, 48, 49.
47.5. It's right there.
Yeah.
Right there
Yeah,
around 48.
that should be a good game. That could be a one you stack for DFS if you trying to fade that Cardinals Chargers game, but you want a high-scoring game. A lot of the other ones are down near 40. So that could be a fun stack, that game.
Do you go
Geno's
on
probably
the
cheap.
Do you go on the Raiders side to get contrarian? No. The Geno stack. Do you go on the other side with Derek Carr and some of these Devontae Adams, Derek Carr, maybe a Josh Jacobs or a Foster Moreau and stack on that side? Or are you going with the Seahawks stack?
No Foster Moreau for me. Foster Moreau. So last week I said Tyler Higbee was a trap. It was. This week I think Foster Moreau is probably the biggest trap play of the week, especially in DFS where people log into DraftKings and it says right on there, Seahawks ranked 32 against the tight end. That makes you see that green, you see the cheap price, and you want to plug that guy in. Here's the problem with Foster Moreau. Well, there's actually two problems. Number one, he stinks. Number two, he blocked on 16 pass plays last week. 16 times the Raiders said, let's throw it here. We need a big play. No, Foster, you stay in and block, right? Like that is horrible for fantasy football. Almost 40%. He played every single snap of the game. And 16 times they said, you're not running a route here. 40% of his pass plays, he stayed in the block. That is not conducive to fantasy success. And this is a guy that's never had 67 yards, filling in for an often injured Darren Waller. Do not go there. If I'm going to build a stack here, I'm going Geno and I'm going Devontae Adams. And I'm potentially starting Josh Jacobs too. So maybe Adams, Josh Jacobs, and then stacking Geno with either Lockett or Metcalf, or maybe both.
Yeah. I don't mind that. I like the Geno with the double wide receiver on the other side. I think that's fun. Geno with Metcalf and Lockett against this Raiders team. That's where I think I'd be rolling. I was just curious if there was value on the other side, if like the Carr Adams, like if we could go that way.
Yeah, because I don't like. I mean, if you do it, you have to go. I don't like Foster Moreau, and I kind of do like the double stack. So you would go Carr and then maybe Mac Hollins. But I don't know, man. Mac Hollins, there's a group of guys that just don't. I know they produce, but they don't excite me much. Like Mac Hollins and Zay Jones. I can't get excited about those players. Do you have Mac Hollins anywhere, or are you willing to start him in DFS anywhere?
I start him in some leagues. I do have Mac Hollins on a couple rosters, but he is the guy on my bench that I plug in, break glass in case of emergency. You know what I mean? Like he is the high up guy on my bench that I can plug in if I don't have starters, if there's injuries last second, if there's crazy bye weeks, because I do think he's startable, right? But there's just no consistency with Mac Hollins. You're hoping for that long touchdown. I was hoping he might get some more consistency with with Hunter Renfrow and Darren Waller both going to the Iyer, but it seems like he's still playing the same role in this offense. Like his role hasn't changed. He's still the field stretcher, and you're hoping for that long touchdown from him.
Yeah. Jail, back against the wall. Mac Hollins or Zay Jones?
Zay Jones.
Yeah, I think so too.
Zay Jones has been piecing it together, man. He's been. I have him in my flex leagues team, and I need wide receiver help. I picked him up off the waiver wire early, and he's been all right. 8 to 10 points, like solidly every week.
both those play like Zay Jones definitely is going to the school of Darius Slayton. Okay, right? Like,
All right.
all right. The Darius Slayton school of not bad.
Not bad.
Darius Slayton school. Yeah, you're doing all right. That's a pretty good job you're doing over there.
Yeah, I think
That's a
Donovan
catchy name
Peoples
for a
Jones.
school.
Donovan Peoples Jones is ready. He's ready to graduate that school because he's kind of been in that school, but I think he's a little more hip. He's
Is this the week? Is this the week against the Bucks where he's going to graduate? He has to hit 100 yards to graduate, right? That's the final exam.
Final exam, dude. And guess what? If he doesn't hit it this week, I'll just go down narrative street and say that the week with Deshaun Watson will be the week. So
Against the Texans.
You can't stop me.
It's just next time. Just next time. We got Strong Style Ninja showing up today. What's up, Strong Style?
What up,
Saying
Ninja?
Prime time Cousins went off. Yeah. He said, take your narrative and shove it up your analyst butt because Kirk Cousins in prime time is a different story this week. I don't know if he was feeling Thanksgiving energy or what did it, but he did not look like
kind of felt more like Justin Jefferson prime time, but
right.
I get the point.
Cousins, it can never be perfect with Cousins. You know what I mean? Like, does anybody waste more timeouts than Kirk Cousins did? And it's always, he just seems like he's not quite right there. Like I just pictured like yesterday when the first one where he thought it was a delay game, but the coach called a timeout and he didn't even know that the timeout was called. So he's like just being a big crybaby, spiking the football, and then he's like, "Oh, wait a second, we're fine." You know what I mean? It's just like Kirk, like the guy that he's exactly the guy that takes a knee when he's supposed to spike it. You know, but at the same time, he gets it done. So what am I going to say?
Jail, are you? Do you love Kirk Cousins after this game?
Nope.
I knew it. We had some questions in here coming in, guys. Trenton says playing Zay as my flex this week. Bench DeAndre Swift for him in my do or die week. Win out and off to or don't and off to the toilet bowl. So that decision's been made. Zay Jones is playing over DeAndre Swift. Jail, you were just talking about you're pretty all right with Zay Jones. You like that call, Jones over Swift this week?
I probably would have gone Swift if you had asked me yesterday, but we're beyond that now. And so Zay Jones, I think is fine. I think he can score. I don't know. I don't remember what Swift got in PPR. I think it was around
that
10.
was half PPR was 8.3.
Probably around 10 points or so. Yeah, I think Zay Jones is absolutely where I would put him as well in that same range in a full PPR league. And so I think that's fair. I think we'll see.
Yeah.
I like it.
Jail, you're so right too. 10.3 PPR points is what DeAndre Swift got. You got your finger on the pulse, man.
Well,
you just watch these games and you're just like,
so plugged in,
like taking my own pulse while I watch.
Just watching games and be able to go like 9.7 fantasy points. That's how many he has. I want that ability. Like,
we're up against the clock here. Let's hit these last questions.
Yeah, let's make sure we hit some of these right here. Michael said standard redraft traded JT and Amari for Justin Jefferson. Did I give up too much? So Jonathan Taylor and Amari Cooper for Justin Jefferson. What do you think about that, Coop?
All boils down to roster composition. If you weren't starting Amari Cooper, then I don't mind the trade. If you are now putting in a much worse player into your lineup, then I don't like it.
So the running backs they're left with are ETN, Jeff Wilson, Pacheco, and Rachaad White. So it's the all upside squad right there. It's all upside. You're cool. I like that trade. I think you did give up more than the value for Justin Jefferson, but that doesn't mean it's a bad trade. Sometimes you got to get it done. Then one more flex this week: Gerald Everett or Brandon Cooks. Coop, where are you going on this one?
I can't start Gerald Everett. Not only did he not play, he only played more than 70% of the snaps in one game all season, and now he has a hurt groin where he didn't even play last week. You can't start Gerald Everett, even though it's a great matchup. I'll start Brandon Cooks, even though he's being a big crybaby.
Brandon Cooks. Okay, guys, and then rapid style. We're coming up at the end here. Kenyon Drake or Chuba Hubbard if Deonta is out. Jail, what do you think?
Kenyon Drake.
Kenyon Drake for me as well. Guys, everybody, I want to joining us this Friday after Thanksgiving morning. We love all of y'all, and we are grateful that you come and choose to spend some time with us. Hang out here for some more shows after this here on Better Sports Network, and then hang out with us this Sunday. We will be live. Coop is on from 9 to 11. Am I getting those times right?
Exactly.
From 11 a.m. to 1 p.m., me, myself, and Joey Wright. We will see you guys on Sunday. Enjoy your Black Friday. Enjoy your weekend. Until then, adios, everyone. And JL.